Say whatever you want about Kyle Shanahan. Beating the Los Angeles Rams in the regular season is the one thing he does more consistently than wear a hat with a big logo, or a tiny logo sometimes, right in the middle of that brim. Man, he's really got Sean McVay's number. That was a defensive masterpiece. I mean, a 4-quarter long, playing out in real-time defensive masterpiece that only allows 3 field goals to the Rams. And honestly, but for a Gibson dropped interception that was right in the breadbasket, they're only scoring 6 points last night. I mean, it could have been even better in terms of how did it look on the scoreboard. And having said all of that, because of ever-present offensive limitations, even though the 49ers completely dominated that football game, when Robbie Gould missed the field goal that was going to put him up 11, I thought they might lose this game. I really thought when that turned into an 8-point game, or remained an 8-point game, I guess I should say, that the 49ers might end up actually blowing this one at home. And that's what happens when you have an offense with question marks playing in front of a defense that at this point in time really has no question marks on it. The only thing wrong with the 49ers defensively are the quality of opponents played in the first 3 weeks of this season. Otherwise, it is just one big, monster, nasty unit. Turn your mic on. Welcome back to the studio, Ray.
I hate this place. Then again, this place hates me. No, they are as advertised. You could quibble with the fact that they allowed the Rams to drive 4 times, like long extended drives, but they never gave up that play. In part because the Rams have some serious offensive limitations right now. And I'm not trying to lump them in with Denver or Chicago or Seattle, but they only have 2 guys that Matthew Stafford trusts at all.
No doubt.
And last night you saw everything. They can't run the ball at all. They have a hard time blocking, pass blocking. And they threw half of their offensive plays to Tyler Higbee and Cooper Kupp. If you take out the 7 sacks, that's a number that can be discussed later. They had 66 offensive plays, and 33 of those were throws to Kupp or Higbee. If you have that, you don't even have a one-dimensional offense. You have a half-dimensional offense. And while Cooper Kupp, numbers-wise ran wild, he was never a danger. You never got the sense that he was going to break something and make it magic. And oftentimes he does that. They had him corralled. Yeah, he caught a ton of balls, but I never got the sense that, he's going to break this game open.
Well, the only thing I can say about Cooper Kupp, who was fantastic last night, I mean, he really was, but the only thing I can say about Cooper Kupp is that has to be among the least impactful 14-catch, 122 yards of football games of his entire career.
Yeah, and not his fault either.
None of it was his fault. None of it was his fault. There was a defense that didn't let anything get past it last night. I mean, they were really good. Really, really good. Defensive prowess leading the 49ers to a 24-9 victory. Again, it shouldn't even have been that close. Through 4 weeks, the 49ers defense is now number 1 in points allowed. They're tied for first in total defense. They're second in passing yards allowed, second in rushing yards allowed. And Nick Bosa, not that we're assigning nicknames. I hate how much this town loves a nickname, but if you had to give him one, I'd call him the pressure point because he just creates pressure. That's all he does. He is a point of pressure over and over and over again. He leads the NFL with 30 quarterback pressures this season. Last night, he had 14 quarterback pressures. He was fantastic. Look, Greenlaw was really good last night. Hassan Ridgeway was really good last night. Ibukam, really good last night. Charles Omenihu was really good last night. In a game which Javon Kinlaw did not play, and Eric Armstead's plantar fasciitis foot rendered him out of the game in the second half, that defensive line didn't miss a beat. And they're down 2 starters, basically.
They're down 2 starters, and I don't want to be the guy who spits in the stew pot, but the Rams have now lost 4 offensive tackles in 4 weeks. So they couldn't block. And to the 49ers' credit, they did not let, an apparent easy path to the quarterback, affect them at all. They just said, well, okay, it looks like free lunch. And they ate all night. I mean, you can only play the team that's presented in front of you. The Rams are incomplete, and the 49ers punished them for it.
And I'm going to tell you right now that there is very little that creates more excitement on a football field, in my mind anyways, than watching at the beginning of the play, he was out of the picture, but now in the play, here comes Talanoa Hufanga storming into the picture. When that guy blitzes, he's going to get through the protection. When that guy decides, I'm going to go after a pass, God, he jumped all over that screen last night. It was fantastic. And there's no more, I think he might be special. I think he might be Pro Bowl. That's what I think. I think he is maybe going to end this season in the conversation of best at their position in the NFL. Talanoa Hufanga is spectacular. I know that today Jerry Rice was talking all about, he was on the morning show basically praising Talanoa Hufanga. He wanted to get into a few other things, and we got an awful lot of sound. Got a lot of people weighing in on the Comcast Business text line saying Bosa already has a nickname. It's the Bear. Yeah, except it's one of those nicknames that no one has actually ever used except for Bosa and his own Twitter handle. Like, I've never heard Nick Bosa referred to as the Bear by anyone at Ohio State or in the NFL. So, yeah, I guess you could say it's kind of a nickname, but it's certainly not a nickname anyone uses.
And frankly, Bosa is sufficient because it explains everything you need to know.
Bosa. I mean, there is another one, but at this point, you're only really talking about the Nick, especially if you're in Northern California. Chances are you say Bosa in Southern California, you might still be talking about Nick Bosa as well because
Joey Bosa,
the younger brother, is better than Joey.
Yeah, and Joey's hurt right now.
And so Joey's out of the picture right now.
No, he doesn't need a nickname. He doesn't need a nickname.
Meanwhile, the NFC West, it's like nothing's really ever happened. The entire division is deuces. Deuces across the board. Everybody's 2-2, but the Niners are actually the best possible 2-2 that you could be in the NFC West because both of their victories have come against division opponents. So what was a slow out-of-the-gate start for the 49ers doesn't sound very sexy at 2-2, but all things considered, they're well-positioned. And Jimmy, it's just real simple. As long as Garoppolo doesn't poop his own pants, the 49ers are going to be a playoff team. They really will be. As long as that guy isn't actively going about helping the other team win and is just doing the bare minimum to put his team in position to score 2-3 times a game, 4 times a game, probably a big ask. But, man, they have a formula. There is no doubt about it. They have an identity. It might not be the sexiest of identities, but you can have success in the NFL with this identity. There is no doubt about that. We are underway here, and let me tell you, you know the identity of our one and only guest this Tuesday afternoon. Peter King is going to join us at 5 o'clock. We're looking forward to that. Damon and Ratto, brought to you by BMW Fairfield, now open in the Fairfield Auto Mall. Since opening their doors in July of last year, BMW Fairfield's become the top-rated BMW dealer in the entire Bay Area. You can visit bmwfairfield.com today to book your visit. I know that a little bit later on tonight, we're going to have Sean Salisbury and Lorenzo Neal on for the football hour. It's normally on a Monday, but it's going to run from 6 to 7 tonight because we all know what we were doing yesterday. It was Monday Night Football, and for someone who has never been a fan of Levi Stadium, last night might have been its best night. It really was. Like, that place was packed. It was loud. It was buzzsaw in there, and the fans enjoyed themselves a good Monday afternoon. A lot of people played hooky yesterday at work, and that place was loud. That place was a good atmosphere for the 49ers last night, who haven't had a robust home field advantage since leaving Candlestick. They had a little bit of a home field advantage last night, and because there is no home field advantage for the Rams down at SoFi, nobody knows how to run that silent count better than L.A., but even with that on his side, Matthew Stafford could not generate enough, basically throwing the football to two guys with no running game to help him out and very little protection throughout the evening that was dominated by the 49ers defense. And we got a lot to get into today. So it's good to have you here. Damon and Ratto on 95.7 The Game. Your biggest impressions of last night. And I got the best news for you that a defense that's already pretty nasty is about to get even deeper and therefore a little bit better. So stick around. We'll share all of that with you coming up. Peter King at 5 o'clock this afternoon on 95.7 The Game.
The 49ers defense is nasty.
They're down to 9. Bosa. The sack. They take it. Throw him, and Stafford is sacked up near the 30. Abercom, the former Ram, got it.
I think it's best in the league. All three levels is elite players.
This one is juggled pick. There goes the bunga. Pick six.
This is the Bay Area's sports station. 95.7 The Game.
There's a reason Comcast Business powers more businesses than any other provider. Actually, there's a few. Comcast Business offers the fastest, reliable network, the peace of mind that comes with Security Edge, helping to protect all your connected devices, and the most reliable 5G mobile network. Want me to keep going? I can. Whether your small business is starting or growing, you need Comcast Business. Technology solutions that put you ahead and give you serious savings. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with fast speeds and advanced security. Together for just $69.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Or find out how to get up to a $650 prepaid card with a qualifying bundle. Limited time offer, restrictions apply. New 50 megabits per second internet and Security Edge customers only. Requires enrollment in EcoBill and AutoPay. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Comcast Business Mobile utilizes the network with the most RootMetrics 5G data reliability wins in 1H 2022. Results may vary, not an endorsement.
Everything, our farm, our stand, our pop-up shop, it really all started when we discovered the benefits of local, raw honey for our family.
And then we decided to turn it into a business.
We were looking for something to help us get up and running.
So we got the Chase Business Complete Banking Account.
It's more than a bank account. It comes with Quick Accept, which lets us take card payments anytime, anywhere in the U.S. using the Chase mobile app. Plus, we get same-day deposits at no extra cost. For us, it's more than honey. It's about sharing a little sweetness with the world.
Get the Chase Business Complete Banking Account with the essentials you need to help get your business going. Learn more at chase.com/business-complete-banking. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Quick Accept is not available in U.S. territories. Enrollment required. Usage subject to approval. Same-day deposits available for payments before 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday to Friday. Fees and rates apply for checking and processing. Limitations and restrictions apply. Participants compensated. Merchant services provided by Payment Tech LLC and WePay Inc. Subsidiaries of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure for fast, powerful nighttime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
As you know, sports teams plan well ahead of the next season. If you're thinking of remodeling your home, consider the same strategy. Talk with your designer or builder now about your next project. Golden State Window and Door has new inventory coming online. Milgard, Anderson, and Marvin. See Golden State Window and Door's wide variety of accessories at convenient showrooms across the Bay Area or goldenstatelumber.com. Since 1954. Golden State. When you succeed, we succeed.
From carriage house to glass aluminum doors, R&S Doors has a full line of commercial and residential garage doors and gates to suit anyone's taste and budget. Visit rsdoors.com. R&S Doors. Look for the red truck.
Do you think all premium fuels are the same? Well, your engine doesn't. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus helps keep your engine running like new because it's engineered to defend against 4 main engine threats: gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. So next time, choose Shell's most advanced fuel ever. It's fuel for thought. In engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention Marines, military personnel, families, and contractors who were stationed at Camp Lejeune. Were you present at Camp Lejeune between August 1953 and December of 1987? You may be entitled to significant compensation. For nearly 34 years, those in the Marine Corps' base Camp Lejeune were exposed to contaminated drinking water, resulting in devastating injuries, including several forms of cancer, adverse birth outcomes, Parkinson's disease, and more. North Carolina's procedural laws have prevented victims from getting the justice they deserve, but passage of the Camp Lejeune Justice Act of 2022 would allow you or a loved one to file lawsuits seeking compensation for illnesses and injuries linked to the toxic water. Call today for your free consultation. 800-610-9256. Let our experienced attorneys fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call 800-610-9256. That's 800-610-9256. Again, 800-610-9256.
Charging a cell phone can be like getting a booster shot. A booster is given to enhance or restore protection after a primary series vaccination, which wanes over time. Schedule an appointment when you are eligible. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Now back to Damon and Ratto on 95.7 The Game. Brought to you by BMW Fairfield. Now open in the Fairfield Auto Mall. Visit bmwfairfield.com today to book your visit.
24-9 win for the 49ers last night on Monday Night Football. We got a lot to get into. We are about to celebrate, unpack, repack, examine the two great offensive plays that were involved in that game last night for San Francisco. But a few things to let you know about before we get there. Number one, our sister station, Alice, is back in the throwing the parties business. Alice in Winterland is happening Friday, December 2nd, down at SAP Center in San Jose. John Mayer, One Republic, Matt Nathanson. More to be added to the bill before it's all said and done. Tickets go on sale this Friday, October 7th at 10 a.m. On Ticketmaster. Let me just, without any paid endorsement going on here, let me tell you that there is never, well, I don't want to say never, but there are very few musical acts that I had a predisposed inclination towards and then saw him in person and was blown away. John Mayer. Like, I thought John Mayer was like soft high school chick rock. No, that guy is an absolute guitar virtuoso. He can play for real. So, John Mayer, there you go. Headlining Alice in Winterland. Glad it's back. Concerts are coming back. The world's coming back. That's all very, very good news. The Niners did not have to come back last night, but they're getting players back, Ray, that could make a stout defense even a little bit better. Jason Verrett, the oft-injured yet very talented corner, is going to be back in the mix, along with Jimmy Ward, who are expected to debut at practice this week. And let me just tell you, those are two more chess pieces to use in a secondary that is getting the job done as is. Like, with backups, I don't know who you take off the field to really put those guys back onto the field, but someone's going to leave the field via injury anyways. And we're not wishing anything on anyone, but that's just the way this league works. And because the Niners at all times, our team can never be unscathed. Colton McKivitz last night is down with a sprained knee which is going to make an already battered offensive line a little bit more of a work in progress as we go forward. So there's something to keep an eye on. But it looks like Jason Verrett and Jimmy Ward are going to be two more pieces for D'Amico Ryans to figure out how to use in a defense that doesn't feel like it needs a lot of stucco to keep it together. They're really good right now.
Yeah, they've I don't want to say the secondary's been fixed because, as you say, you're always one injury away from being a weakness. But they've been surprisingly good, I think it's safe to say, because they were targeted as the second biggest problem area next to the offensive line. And they've done swell. Last night was really their toughest test, and they dealt with it. I mean, Cooper Kupp caught 1 billion balls, but as we said before, was not basically any danger at any point to becoming the game changer. Tyler Higbee caught a bunch of balls, not a game changer. Nobody else was a factor. And those 7 sacks don't come without getting good coverage in the secondary, because Stafford was looking hard for the 2 guys he wanted to throw to, and it often wasn't there.
Meanwhile, Jimmy got sacked 0 times. I think he only got hit once by Donald. The protection did exactly what you hoped it would, even outperformed the sunniest of expectations. And as we were talking about before the game even kicked off, when we were down doing the show at the Hilton Santa Clara yesterday, Ray, Aaron Donald has a very weird habit of disappearing against the San Francisco 49ers. And it's the way that they handle him. It's the way backups have handled him. It's the way the group in front has decided to deal with him. I'm like, I can't figure it out. And I guarantee you that Aaron Donald can't quite figure it out either. He's got to be frustrated. He had 4 tackles, but not a single woo play the entire game. Like, I really, but for the first series of the game, didn't even notice him. Didn't even notice Aaron Donald.
Yeah, I think they do a real good job of crowding him to take away his speed. And when he can't get out in the open field, and he almost sounds like a running back here, when he can't get out in the open field, he can't cause damage. And you notice him when he's wreaking havoc. And because of the way the 49ers run at him and how they don't hold the ball long to let him get ahead of steam, he becomes, I would never say invisible, but hard to find.
Yeah. Which,
and it's
for
not
Aaron Donald,
because,
is invisible,
and
right?
it's not because he's not working his ass off. It's not like he's taking plays off.
Not at all.
They just know how to make him uncomfortable.
Run away from him, run around him, run over him. It doesn't seem that any team in football has him quite as figured out as Kyle Shanahan does, and that San Francisco 49ers offense. And it's not like it was an awesome night for the 49ers offense, but it was a night of offensive competency. And that's really, when you got a defense like that, you don't need too much more. If you have a defense like that and an overwhelming offense, you know what they call those teams? Super Bowl champions. Like easy to spot coming level of Super Bowl champions. So if the Niners really had this oh my gosh level of an offense, there is no ceiling to what this year could be. Even with Garoppolo's limitations, the ceiling could still be a Super Bowl appearance. But then winning that game, I'm guessing that you're running into a hell of an AFC quarterback at that point. And the hell of AFC quarterbacks at this point are probably good enough to even test this incredible defense. So that's when you'd like to have someone with equal punching power at the QB position. And I don't know if the Niners are going to go into a lot of games with that. Certainly not a championship game.
Well, I mean, I think we jumped from, if they lose tonight, they're screwed, to, oh my God, they're a Super Bowl contender. I don't know what they are yet. Even allowing for last night, where they looked at about as good as definitely as good as they've looked all year, and about as good as you would expect them to look this year. All I think we really realized is that when they start the game with a semblance of offensive rhythm, And they did that for those 2 possessions. They can do enough to keep other teams off balance and then sit back and let their defense do the business. The only thing that you could look at last night and go, boy, that's not good in the long term, is the fact that the Rams had the ball for 35 minutes. And that's a long time to ask that defense to do what that defense does. And maybe if the Rams, say, had Van Jefferson or their offensive line wasn't in shambles, maybe that's a much tougher ask. But they played a long time, and they played well for almost all of it. They got cut up underneath, but never got beat and never had to worry about a running game because the Rams don't run the ball.
They really don't.
They don't believe in it. I mean, clearly at this point. Cam Akers, I'm unclear as to why he's on the roster because he never gets the ball. And they don't really make that a feature of what they do. I mean, Darrell Henderson got 7 carries. Akers got 8 and only gained 13 yards. I mean, how do you function like that? I don't know.
Well,
I mean, you're not going to make a deep run in the playoffs.
I'll tell you how you function. I tell you how you function like that. You lose 24-9 on Monday Night Football. That's how you function like that.
Yeah, I mean, they look incredibly lopsided. And if you're good enough to control their best weaponry, they don't have a second card to play. I mean, they're playing poker with 4 cards.
Damon and Ratto here on 95.7 The Game. We're brought to you by BMW Fairfield. In the Fairfield Auto Mall, with over 400 Google reviews, you will find that their 4.8 rating makes them the highest rated by you BMW dealership in the Bay Area. Go find out why for yourself at bmwfairfield.com today. Book your visit. Hello to all the good listeners on the YouTube, all of our YouTubers. I'm guessing, do the Twitch folks have a running stream conversation going too? I've never opened up Twitch. I'm not allowed to open up Twitch. I'm 47 years old. I don't even think it works for me, so I'm not even going to bother. I have seen the conversation on YouTube. Hello to all. And on the Comcast Business text line, someone's saying, hey, Hufanga doesn't get that pick 6, it could be a much different story. And you are totally right. You're completely right. And that is why the Niners, I think, are going to be a playoff team, but probably not a Super Bowl team. And had they lost yesterday, like I said, I wasn't going to declare disaster, but it was going to be the path that you did not want to take. 1-3 with 2 road games around the corner. Winnable or not, you just don't want to be 1-3 going into 2 road games. You don't. So the road in front of them is now a smoother path to the playoffs than what 1-3 would have represented. And they can actually look at this road trip as a chance to definitely, I think, pick up a win in Carolina. And then you start worrying about Atlanta when you get there. Atlanta is not nearly as bad as you'd think a bad Falcons team might be, could be. Probably is in some weird way, but there's something going on in Atlanta with enough playmakers where you got to stay honest against them. That's for sure. We have 2 plays to really talk about, though. And this is where I want to invite you in to talk about these 2 plays today, because there were 2 offensive plays in last night's game that I thought were among not just the best plays I have seen from this year, obviously, but 2 of the best plays I have ever seen the Niners in the Kyle Shanahan era. One of them was a brilliant design. The other, I think, has some element of luck as much as it has element of skill and absolute Debo beastism defining what happened. But I want to start with the incredible run design that allowed Jeff Wilson Jr. to do this for the first touchdown of the evening.
On first down, here is a toss. Right up the gut. Wilson. Goodbye. Touchdown, 49ers.
First of all, I want to give Jimmy a lot of love for a cadence. He does sound great at the line of scrimmage. At 118! I mean, he's got a QB's voice. But I want you to listen to how Joe Buck describes this, because he described what I want to bask in.
On first down, here is a toss. Right up the gut. Wilson. Goodbye. Touchdown, 49ers.
Joe Buck, obviously, on Monday Night Football, ESPN. Here is a toss. Right up the gut is his very next phrase. By definition, a toss play is a play that's going to the outside. You're running that outside of your tackle. You are sending that sucker to the sideline. You're looking to run around the line of scrimmage, not through up the middle. So it was this brilliant power toss left with all that eye candy going left in the shift. And then Jeff Wilson Jr., either by design of the play itself or just fantastic vision that he used and that was on display right there, decided, I am taking this toss play and I'm going to cut it through the center gap. That was as great of a running play as I've seen the 49ers run, certainly all year, going back to all of your Shanahan favorite runs with Raheem Mostert busting off 75-yarders and all of that. Like, that was just brilliant in either its design, its execution, or maybe even both. But that was the best run design of the year to date. It started with a great read from Jimmy, too, because he audibled into that play. He checked with him to get into that play. So he put the team on alert, and for the very first time, remember just a year or two ago, we were tracking how Kyle Shanahan is such a good X's and O's creator that the Niners lead the league in untouched touchdowns. Remember us having that conversation?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we haven't had that conversation in like 2 years because that kind of stopped happening. Last night was this year's first official untouched touchdown.
See, and I think it was a design play because of what we talked about earlier, which was if that's going outside to Donald's side, Donald has a chance to make a play. I think the fact that Wilson broke it back in as quickly as he did suggests to me that the whole idea was, all right, we're going to go that way, and then you're coming back away from Donald, making him run through traffic. And Wilson is quick enough so that if he gets a step and a half, Donald can't catch him because
Randy
he's
just
still
told me
through.
Donald wasn't even on the field for that play.
Oh, he wasn't?
I don't know what. Maybe he was getting a blow.
Okay, credit to him, but it still looked like a design play. I mean, it just broke too quickly for it not to be. And, I could be wrong because I'm not Johnny Football, but it looked like that was the design all along. And I think one of the things that we're probably going to try to discern, if it's not absolutely true, is that the 49ers are a rhythm offense. They need to start cleverly. Not dangerously, not throw the ball down the field like you're Kansas City, but do things that allow you to chunk play early, start to feel good about yourselves, continue to get a couple, because the first two drives were exactly that. And that's when the 49ers feel like they have control of a game when they have the ball. Because they didn't have the ball a long time last night.
Well, they're front runners.
Yeah, and most teams are.
Right, well, and that sounds like it's an insult. It's not. The 49ers love to get on a lead, and then Shanahan cuts his playbook not even in half. Like he quarters that sucker down to 2 pages and gets ultra conservative because he's just trying to play defense and get the hell out of the field get off the field with a win. I just thought it was fantastic. Brian Baldinger has a breakdown of the play on Twitter. I suggest you go and you watch it there. Somebody on our text line already has said it was by design. Baldy broke it all down. Look, this is what Baldy knows and thinks. Design, sure, but to toss and just fake like this thing's going outside and that comeback, the cutback, whether it was vision by design, whatever, I don't care. What I'm trying to say is if that play were a girl that walked into a bar, every dude in the bar would be like, dude, check out that chick who just walked into the bar. She's hot. Like, that was a gorgeous design, a gorgeous play. This play was a little bit more of a mess, but my God, Deebo Samuel.
3rd down and 3, quick throw, what a catch. Samuel stays upright. Terrific catch and run. One-on-one with Ramsey. Can't bring him down. Samuel, highlight reel. Touchdown.
Joe Buck again on ESPN, and he said it, highlight reel. I actually think that that's the single greatest play that Deebo Samuel has run as a professional football player. You might have your favorite. Everyone's got their own favorite flavors and colors and everything. That, to me, is quintessential. I don't know if we'll ever see him make a more Deebo-ish play than that. First, it starts with the catch. And I've been arguing back and forth with someone on Twitter who was so upset by me arguing with him, changed his Twitter handle to Damon Bruce's Trash. I believe they call that hashtag rent-free.
I didn't know your wife was on Twitter.
Yeah. Ba-dum-bum. Look, that ball was thrown high and behind Deebo Samuel. It was not thrown high and behind Deebo, I believe, by design. And Jimmy Garoppolo can say whatever he wants to in the postgame. I really don't care.
I mean, I saw him driving on it, so I just didn't want to throw the interception. Kind of gave it a either Deebo will get or no one will, and that's about all I did on the play. And Deebo did the rest, man. He's fun, man. He's fun to watch. It's awesome having a guy like that.
See, I don't think Jimmy has accuracy like that. Jimmy throwing high and behind a receiver isn't a feature. It's a bug. Or maybe because it's Garoppolo we're talking about, you could say it's a bug and a feature. It's what Garoppolo does. Garoppolo doesn't have the best footwork. He's an arm and shoulder throwing quarterback, which is why his passes either sail high like a hanging slider or they go into the ground like a sinker. It's too much arms, it's not enough feet and legs. That is Jimmy's problem. That's why Kyle Shanahan went out and traded up for a quarterback, because Jimmy is always a little bit high, a tiny bit behind. He made some really good throws last night. But that level of catch radius accuracy, the intentionally put it on the back shoulder because it's where he could get it, no one else could, that's Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes stuff. That's not what Jimmy does. Jimmy just tries to get the ball around the guy. And Deebo makes a hell of a catch. The corner that broke on that ball, had Jimmy thrown a perfect chest pat, hit him right in the numbers, football, it is a pick six going the other way. It is a pick six going the other way. The Rams defender jumped all over that pass as aggressively as Talanoa Hufanga jumped all over his pick six later in the game. That would have been an interception the other way. But by hook or crook, and sometimes it is better to be lucky than good, Jimmy Garoppolo does put it in one place where Deebo does come down with it. And then Deebo is off to the races in a tackle-breaking, zigzagging, running all over the field, breaking a Jalen Ramsey tackle at the very end, too. I mean, he was just awesome. Ray, have you seen the NFL website that runs like all the directions and you like tracks the foot speed and footwork? Go and watch Deebo's last night.
No, it looks like a Civil War battle.
It does. What is this, Appomattox? No, it's just Deebo Samuel.
No, it was, and maybe Garoppolo did try to put it that way, put it there. I think he can make most throws. He just can't make them all the time. So that might have been where he did want to throw it. But whether we argue about whether that's where the ball was supposed to go, Samuel made the play on it.
Yes, he did.
That's the thing. And, maybe, 2 inches the other way, it is a pick six. But the point is that the center of the play is the wide receiver making the difficult catch and then turning it into magic.
And look,
for lack of a better word.
Well, magic to you because you love it so much. Comcast Business text line, like some of you fanboys, like seriously need to get out of your feelings. Someone saying, Damon, bro, quit crying. Do you hear me crying? I'm telling you what I think I saw. You think you saw something else? 888-957-9570. Put your mouth where put your money where your mouth is. If you think you saw something that I didn't see, we'd love to hear from you. I ain't crying. I ain't complaining. I just said sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. I thought Jimmy got lucky on that play. And Peyton Manning said, if Jimmy meant to put it there, that's a hell of a throw. Peyton Manning knows more about quarterbacking than I ever will, but I know more about Jimmy Garoppolo than I think Peyton Manning ever will, because I have watched this man every single pass he has thrown in his career since landing in San Francisco. I've missed 0 Jimmy Garoppolo passes since he showed up. I know Jimmy Garoppolo. I know the way he throws. That was a hold your breath, oh my God, nearly a YOLO, Debo, unbelievable play. Unbelievable play. And Debo was talking about how he noticed he got by Jalen Ramsey in the open field.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing out there. I just went right by him. He was just backpedaling. I was like, what's going on?
Stay out of my way. Like Marvin Gaye, what's going on? 888-957-9570. 2 of the best offensive plays of the entire year, really, of Debo's, resume. And, man, Jeff Wilson Jr., that's about as sexy a running plays you're going to see designed this year in the NFL. You want to get into that? We're going to get into that. We got an awful lot to get into today. Peter King at 5 o'clock here on 95.7 The Game. We're brought to you by Fremont Bank, full-service banking, no compromises.
Back the Sooners in the Red River rivalry. I'm Joe Ostrowski here to help you beat the books with BetQL. Once the favorite in the Big 12, Oklahoma has lost 2 straight and now faces Texas in its annual rivalry game. The Sooners are favored on the look-ahead line, but they're now 7-point dogs. The BetQL model thinks that's gone too far and actually still has OU as slight favorites. That makes the Sooners a 4-star best bet. I'm Joe Ostrowski. Bet smarter and beat the books. Download the BetQL app today.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Grainger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, I'm Aaron, owner of California Deluxe Windows. Ever notice? When your neighbors get new windows, there is a large black eye of broken stucco, uneven plaster, and even mismatched paint. At California Deluxe Windows, we never leave a ring around the window. Why? Because we are one of the only companies in California who custom crafts every window and door to your home's exact measurements. Almost everyone else on the radio is a distributor. They grab a window from a warehouse, break open your walls, shove it in, and patch things up. At California Deluxe Windows, we take pride in our work. Our installation technique is so precise, we do not break your stucco. Your house could be covered with potato chips, and we wouldn't crack one.
Call now, and for a limited time, you get 30% off your entire order and 24 months of interest-free financing. 800-874-3600. 800-874-3600. That's 800-874-3600. California Deluxe Windows. Windows engineered for life.
Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 774518.
Dr. Trudy Fleer here with the 5G Home Recovery Podcast. Let's discuss a very real existential threat to internet speed. It's a big one. Ready? T-Mobile Home Internet. It lags. Ugh. Now, what is lag? Lag is a delay in data being transmitted across the internet. For example, you're hitting that hot drop, the parachute cuts out, you've got an unsuspecting bot in your sights, and lag! You were actually eliminated 10 seconds ago. Nobody deserves that. So stop letting T-Mobile Home Internet ruin everything and switch to Xfinity. Learn more at xfinity.com/TMOFax.
Get an amazing value on Xfinity Internet with unlimited data included. Switch for $55 a month for 2 full years with no annual contract required and no equipment fees for 24 months. Go to xfinity.com/TMOFax, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to learn more. Requires paperless billing and autopay. Ends 10/17/22. Restrictions apply. New fast internet and xFi Complete customers only. xFi Gateway required. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you may be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com. That's getrefunds.com.
If you're a professional builder or designer, here's some good news from Golden State Lumber. Their relationships with Capital Lumber, Cal Cascade, Humboldt Sawmill, and others have led to an increase in lumber inventory. Golden State strives to deliver most materials the next day, if not the same day. Be sure to download the Golden State app, which provides access to hundreds of resources. Find it at goldenstatelumber.com. For 3 generations, Golden State. When you succeed, we succeed.
Football season is here. The new Odyssey app lets you stay connected to your NFL team, your station, your shows. Follow your favorite stations and come back again and again. Get real-time updates on everything you care about. Miss your show? Jump back to their awesome Rewind feature. The Odyssey app is NFL football. Live and on demand. Wherever you are, whenever you want. And did we mention it's all free? Download the Odyssey app today.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, an oil change with full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advance can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $36.99. Find your solution for better fuel efficiency today at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just 1 dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Now back to Damon and Ratto, brought to you by BMW Fairfield on 95.7 The Game.
It is good to have you here today. It was great to see the 49ers play the kind of football that they want to play, that they have to play, with Jimmy Garoppolo as this team's quarterback. You know, somebody says, are you a little concerned that the 49ers offense has scored only 16 points in the entire second half in 4 games? Yeah. It'll probably be why the train doesn't end where you want it to end when it's all said and done. And, you know, Damon, you're being too critical of Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm telling you, he had a good game. But his biggest throw of the night was a hold your breath. There are a couple hold your breaths always baked into what Jimmy does. But it's real simple. If the 49ers don't have a quarterback turning the ball over, rendering himself ineffective in the passing game, if the Niners don't have to deal with quarterbacking mistakes, they're a double-digit win football team thanks to that defense. All they have to do is be average. And if the defense keeps this up, Ray, even a little below average offense is still going to be enough to carry the day to the playoffs.
Well, that and the fact that I don't see a team in the NFC that's going to run away with this. I would say right now, and I'm trying not to let last night suddenly guide my judgment, but there's no team in the NFC West that looks like they're 2-2. I mean, they all have significant flaws that can be exposed at any time. They all look beatable. So there's nothing special about that division. The only team that is unbeaten is Philadelphia. And I don't know that anybody believes that that's the best team in the conference. It's just that there may not be a best team in the conference. So, you know, you get this defense and a middle-of-the-road offense, which is sort of what this is right now. You get you get a playoff team. And after that, it's all in the arguing.
888-957-9570. RJ giving us a call from the highway of 92. What's going on, RJ? How are you?
Yeah, good. Hey, I'm not going to argue with you about Jimmy. I don't know whether he meant to do that or not, but I will point out, though, he made a heck of a throw to Kittle in the back of the end zone. But the reason I called is I want to point out the block that Ayuk made at the end of that run that Debo made. Nobody's talking about that. He made a hell of a block. Don't know if you remember that.
I mean, he was out there. Everyone started blocking downfield. The Niners' big pop plays always come with a wide receiver making a block downfield. I did see Ayuk out there, but man, I was so trained on Debo that I didn't think that Ayuk's block was responsible for Debo was going to the house with that one. There was just he gets a few this is what Larry Krueger said with us when he stopped on by, did a little pregame. If he has 3 strides on a defender, that defender's in trouble. There might not be any one player at either a linebacker position or in the secondary who can tackle Debo Samuel all by himself if Debo's got a full head of steam. I don't think it can happen.
Well, it's not the 3-stride lead that gets you. It's the fact that he can get to 3 strides quickly. I mean, he doesn't have to beat a guy by 3 steps. He can beat a guy by 1, and it becomes 3 immediately.
Full speed Debo Samuel.
Well, but what I'm saying is that's how he became the running threat that he was last year, that he gets to top speed quicker than most guys. It's why he can hit a hole faster. It's why he creates that space faster. But, I mean, most guys, if you give him 3 steps, no defensive player is going to catch him. It's just that Samuel's gift is that he gets to 3 steps quicker than most. And that's what makes him the player that he is. And that's why he got paid the way he did.
If Debo Samuel had a quarterback who consistently hit him in stride for years here, if Matthew Stafford has Debo Samuel and he's throwing to Debo Samuel and hitting him in stride the way that he hits Cooper Kupp in stride, Debo Samuel has already completely shattered the NFL regular season receiving record. In terms of yardage, he's north of 2,300 yards, 2,500 yards. I mean, the guy is a running back disguising his career as a wide receiver. It's something else. And last night, the very best of Debo was on display. Burst in physicality, says the Comcast business text line. Yeah, 2 words that sum him up pretty darn well. Special player, man. Special player. And last night, he was able to carry the 49ers to a victory. That defense was fantastic. Talanoa Hufanga. This game really boiled down to 3 big scoring plays, and the defense was responsible for one of them.
Another 100 yards against the 49ers again for Cooper Kupp. This one is juggled, picked. There goes Hufanga. Touchdown, San Francisco. Pick 6.
Joe Buck, ESPN. Look, when Hufanga starts breaking towards the line of scrimmage, when he starts breaking on a ball, when he starts a play out of a camera shot, then comes streaking into a camera shot, right now it's among the most exciting things happening in the NFL. That's who he's become. He has become as exciting a player to watch as there is in football. It started with, he might be special. And he has already graduated to he might be a Pro Bowler. And if he consistently becomes a Pro Bowler, then he gets to graduate to he might be a Hall of Famer. Little early to start talking like that. It's a lot early to start talking like that. But my Lord, instincts, got him. Talent, got it. Tackle, got it. Ball skills, got them too.
And it didn't hurt that he knew where the ball was going because the ball was always going there. I mean, Matthew Stafford made that interception happen in large part because he was throwing to Cooper Kupp for the 20th time. Yeah, I mean, how many times do you have to keep going to the same guy before a competent defense says, We know where he's going with this.
I thought Hufanga, more than anything else, read Higbee on the play, who was looking to make the screen for Cooper to come underneath, and that's when he jumped the route. I mean, however he read it, whatever his key was. Mwah, I'm giving that whole play a chef's kiss for a very young player in this league who is figuring it out quickly. Quickly. He's the number 1 rated safety in football right now.
Might very well be Defensive Rookie of the Year, at least the leader right now.
Except last year was his rookie year.
Oh, that's right. I hate this.
Oh, but you're so good at it.
Who says who?
Gene is in Oakland. Gene, you're on 95.7 The Game. What's going on?
Hey, fellas. Yeah, I was reading this article by Dan Patrick this morning where he was saying there's no reason in his mind why the Niners can't go to the Super Bowl this year. And I've been suspecting that for a while. And I, like he was, just waiting to see if this truly was an elite defense. I think we proved that last night. By my count, there have been, maybe 7 or 8 quarterbacks that have had, maybe slightly better than average careers. Guys like Jim McMahon and Hostetler, Brad Johnson, Trent Dilfer, and I'd say most recently Matthew Stafford last year. But that had elite defenses around them that were able to carry them to the Super Bowl and win. I don't see any reason why we couldn't do it this year. This San Francisco defense, I think maybe the best we've had maybe since back in the 90s, all right, the Montana years, because we haven't had the balance, we haven't had the depth that we have this year. So I just wonder what you guys think. I don't see any reason why we can't go all the way, at least looking at it at this point.
Well, Gene, I honestly, look, and I'm not trying to spoil the excitement on a Tuesday morning or afternoon after a Monday night win. But I do see the one reason why they might not be able to, and it's because your quarterback, when asked to put up more than 21 points, we don't know if that can happen. We don't know if that can happen in a big game in the postseason because it hasn't happened when it needed to happen. Now, Phil Mickelson couldn't win a major until he did. So I'm not saying it's impossible. But Kyle Shanahan was so convinced it couldn't happen, he set in motion a line of dominoes to never have to deal with Jimmy Garoppolo ever again. Yet, here we still are. So, it's not what I believe. Forget me telling you what Jimmy may or may not be. Like somebody here from the 510 says, lots of ifs, ands, or buts from you today, Damon. They won. Stop looking for problems. It's Sports Talk Radio! Looking for problems is kind of what we do. And when things are really, really good and there's no problems, believe me, we'll let you know. For example, the Golden State Warriors are healthy again equals no problems. James Wiseman might not be playing, but it doesn't matter, so no problems. Jonathan Kuminga's not getting the minutes I want him to. It doesn't matter, no problems. We'll tell you when there are no problems. And we'll also tell you when there are. But forget about us. Forget about what Ray thinks. Forget about what I think. In Shanahan, you must trust if you are a 49ers fan. Kyle Shanahan does not trust his quarterback. Quarterback played well last night. Quarterback played about as good as he could night. That is peak Garoppolo. What you saw last night is the sizzling version of Jimmy that I'm telling you, as long as you get that, you guarantee. What do we got? We're 4 games in to 7. You give me 13 more weeks of that. Yeah, you probably win the NFC West, which means you get a bye, which means you got a better shot of going to the Super Bowl than if you didn't have that. So yeah, it all could happen. But the first one out on Garoppolo wasn't a caller, wasn't a host, it was his own head coach and GM. Damon, what about that loser Trey Lance, someone else says? You better get to wherever you go to worship, and you better light as many candles and pray to as many gods as you have, the old and the new, that guy's not a loser, because there's no amount of Jimmy getting it done this year, but for hoisting a Lombardi trophy, that brings back Jimmy next year. That's kind of where we are. So don't go rewriting the entire what you think is about to happen based off of one Monday Night Football game. Don't. Because what will happen, that is a sequence of events that has already been set in motion. And oh, by the way, welcome to your 4 o'clock hour.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app. Damn well better be free. You got to realize that last night was good 49ers. There will be more games where they're not as good. This is going to be a roller coaster because they are like a lot of better than average teams in this conference. They have flaws. One of them is you can't bank on consistency. That's not going to be part of what they do because it's not part of what Tampa does. It's not.
There's one consistency you can apparently bank on. 49ers beat the Rams in the regular season.
Okay, well, they have one more crack at them.
Yeah.
So, but then you've got those troublesome 12 other games.
Yeah, right. But I do think we got a little, there's a tendency here. You protect the ball in a rivalry that you have a physical edge in and apparently a coaching edge in. What we saw probably should happen again against the Rams. I'm going to believe that can happen against the Rams until I stop seeing it. Although I said the Rams are probably going to win in the pregame show last night. And I'm going to tell you, as soon as Robbie Gould missed that second field goal attempt and it was still an 8-point game, I thought the Rams probably still going to win this game. I really did. Because that offense, boys and girls, as happy as you are with Jimmy today, this is an offense that scored 17 points last night, which is only one more point than they're averaging. This offense entered the game averaging 16 points per game. And if that doesn't improve, let me tell you where the train ends. Probably not hoisting a Lombardi trophy. Unless they're really going to be nothing but single-digit shutout level performances the rest of the way. If you're really the early 2000 Baltimore Ravens, if you're really the 1985 Chicago Bears, then yes, indeed, I have great news, everyone. They're going to be the champions if they have one of the three best defenses the sport has ever seen at any level of competition the sport has ever played under. So yes, if they have like one of those defenses that when we're very old men, Ray, we're sitting on a...
I
didn't even mean to go there. But if we're talking about how 8 of these guys went to Canton one day, then yeah, they're going to win the Super Bowl. You don't even need a quarterback. We could have Grandy do it and things will be fine.
Well, let's not lose all perspective. Grandy's got flaws too.
Thanks, Ray.
For one, he's a raging alcoholic.
Why would you even bring up Shanahan trying to get rid of Jimmy after a nice win? Because that is the reality. That's the reality. And that is going to be a pulse under this entire year at all times. It's just the world we all now live in. That's it. You're going to have to stop being a total wuss if you're a Niner fan. That's the only way you're going to get through the year. It's the only way you're going to be able to sit in this audience every single afternoon. You're going to have to start being a total wuss about the reality of the Niners. The only reason why you're looking at Jimmy Garoppolo as your quarterback is one broken ankle. That's it. There isn't a single merit that this team thinks Jimmy has that kept him their starting quarterback. And if you think that Trey Lance is going to be out of the league by 2023, then my God, your general manager just blew so much future capital on a player who sucks that you got problems beyond Shanahan the coach. That's Shanahan the GM. So everyone seriously seriously needs to start shaving with a razor and act like a frickin' grown-up. I'm tired of all this little fanboy Jimmy nonsense. We know who he is. We know who Jimmy Garoppolo is. And Jimmy Garoppolo is going to look really, really good one week. He's going to have you swearing in languages you didn't even think you could speak the next. It's who he is. Think everyone's got it, Ray?
No.
Or are we going to have to constantly re-explain where true north is on the compass at all times?
No, it's really simple. It's a binary state. You have one coach, you have one quarterback. You don't have options on either of those. And that's it. I mean, there literally is no point in bringing up Trey Lance until the season's over, because he's not playing until then. In the season, the future doesn't exist. After the season, there's nothing but future. But for right now, there's 13 more dances. It's all you get. Maybe you get extra if you're good.
And if you
But that's it. But Trey Lance doesn't matter right now.
No.
And what Jimmy Garoppolo's view of Kyle Shanahan is doesn't matter. And what Kyle Shanahan's view of Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't matter. They're married. Period. That's it.
Well, that means the Niners are not just married to the best of Jimmy.
They're married
but the
to all
least
of
Jimmy.
And vice versa.
Right.
They're also married to the best and worst of Kyle Shanahan. You know, they're human beings who are good at what they do, but they've got flaws in what they do.
Look,
nobody's brilliant. Nobody's an idiot. It's a week-to-week business.
In games where he absolutely stinks, I'll be one of the few who remind you, well, he's actually a little bit better than that. And in games where he plays great, we need to remind you, don't come to expect that week in, week out. You shouldn't. You just shouldn't do it.
You don't worry about week to week. You worry about what tomorrow is. And tomorrow comes on Sunday. Don't think about 2 weeks from now. Don't think about 5 weeks from now. That's literally, the 49ers are day to day. Like every other team in football, until you suddenly realize they're either stink or they're great.
Yeah, somebody asked me before the show started, do you think this is the best 49er defense of all time? Let's get to the end of the year and I'll let you know. Because you are 3 players who I don't even want to say their name. I don't even want to speak this into existence, but you're 3 injuries away from just being a defense. So, who knows where this ends? But with Jimmy driving the bus, I'd be shocked if it ended with a Super Bowl championship, and so would you, and so would the head coach, and so would all of us. Quit pretending. Everyone today saying, Jimmy, 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 I love Jimmy, I love Jimmy. You were mother effing him so loud last week that you even forgot about it. A lot of you are prisoners of the moment. This is why I'm here, to be your sports daddy. You're welcome.
And there are a lot of people appealing for adoption right now.
Akil in Dublin. You're on 95.7 The Game. What's going on?
Hey, thanks for taking my call, guys. Hey, I got to agree with you, man. We got to celebrate the win, but at the same time, there's concerns that we have to acknowledge. And for me, one of the concerns is, looking back at the Broncos game, the Rams, their secondary, they have Jalen Ramsey, who's probably the best corner in the league, but the rest of their secondary is not that good. You compare that with the Broncos, who have an all-around good secondary, and my concern is, can the receivers, besides Debo, can they win their one-on-one matchups when they need to? Because the way Shanahan's system is, it's about scheming guys wide open. It's not about a lineup across the corner and try to beat them. So that's something that I've just noticed this past year and the past 2 years. Our receivers at times can't win one-on-one matchups, and obviously we got Jimmy Garoppolo, who's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo no matter what we say. Is this something I want to hear your thoughts on? I mean, can the receivers win one-on-one matchups when it matters?
I mean, I think Aiyuk can. I think that Debo can. Hopefully the rookie Danny Gray can, just based on foot speed, but we haven't seen him yet, so we don't know. I think Juwan Jennings can in certain situations. I don't know about Ray McLeod. And I got to be honest, George Kittle's fallen off a little, or just still isn't all the way healthy. And there was a time in that game last night where he wanted to run back out on the field, and they brought him back in. They said, no, George, you're not going back out there. So I don't know if they got to save him from himself, or they're worried about him further aggravating the injuries that have plagued really his career. But George Kittle is, without a doubt, the greatest paid blocking tight end in the history of football. I want to see him run more routes. I want to see him targeted more. He's very much an afterthought, at least in the passing attack. Now, maybe just due to injuries along the offensive line last night, not only did you lose Colton McKivitz, but we know Trent Williams isn't there, so they're keeping George in to offer extra protection. But, man, when you pay a tight end like that, you think you're going to want to get some catches and touchdowns out of him. He's very much an afterthought in this passing offense.
Yeah, but nothing operates in a vacuum. And if he's a competent blocker at a time when your best blocker and arguably your second best blocker are out, something has to give. You can't do both things at once. And you can't expect Jimmy Garoppolo to be efficient Jimmy Garoppolo if there's no protection. So the point is you cannot do both things with him. You got to pick and choose what you can do.
Somebody says our offensive line needs the most help. Jimmy's got no time to throw. He didn't get sacked last night. Jimmy had plenty of time last night. He got the ball out really, really early. The thing is, the only thing that Kyle trusts him to throw are slants, screen passes, and other passes that really don't even travel 2-3 yards downfield. He is not throwing north and south. He throws a lot of east and west. 888-957-9570. We got an awful lot to get into still today, and Peter King joins us at 5 o'clock. When we do come on back, no one celebrates a fan on the field quite like Kevin Harlan. Damon and Ratto on 95.7 The Game.
Brought to you by On Deck Small Business Loans.
When you own a small business, sometimes you need funds fast. So go to OnDeck.com, America's largest online small business lender. OnDeck makes it easy to apply in minutes. Apply for your loan today at OnDeck.com.
There's a reason Comcast Business powers more businesses than any other provider. Actually, there's a few. Comcast Business offers the fastest, reliable network, the peace of mind that comes with Security Edge, helping to protect all your connected devices, and the most reliable 5G mobile network. Want me to keep going? I can. Whether your small business is starting or growing, you need Comcast Business. Technology solutions that put you ahead and give you serious savings. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with fast speeds and advanced security. Together for just $69.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Or find out how to get up to a $650 prepaid card with a qualifying bundle. Limited time offer, restrictions apply. New 50 megabits per second internet and Security Edge customers only. Requires enrollment in EcoBill and AutoPay. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Comcast Business Mobile utilizes the network with the most RootMetrics 5G data reliability wins in 1H 2022. Results may vary, not an endorsement.
Hi, this is George with Left Coast Buyers. We buy properties all over California. If you own a house or an apartment building and want to sell it fast at a great price, call us at 925-434-5000. We can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. We buy properties in any condition, any price range, and can help you in any situation. Do you own a property that is run down and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Are you out of time, money, and energy? Let us help. Are you looking for an easy way to get top dollar for your property and sell on your terms and timeline? Well, call Left Coast Buyers now at 925-434-5000. We can solve any problem. We buy divorce houses, inherited houses. We even buy vacant houses and abandoned houses. Do you have a tenant who hasn't paid rent? Are you behind on property taxes, mortgage payments, or even facing a foreclosure? Even if you're just nervous about capital gains or an upcoming recession, we've seen it all. So if you or someone you know owns a property and needs to sell, call Left Coast Buyers at 925-434-5000. That's 925-434-5000.
Everything, our farm, our stand, our pop-up shop, it really all started when we discovered the benefits of local, raw honey for our family.
And then we decided to turn it into a business.
We were looking for something to help us get up and running.
So we got the Chase Business Complete Banking Account.
It's more than a bank account. It comes with Quick Accept, which lets us take card payments anytime, anywhere in the U.S. using the Chase mobile app. Plus, we get same-day deposits at no extra cost. For us, it's more than honey. It's about sharing a little sweetness with the world.
Get the Chase Business Complete Banking account with the essentials you need to help get your business going. Learn more at chase.com/business-complete-banking. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Quick Accept is not available in U.S. territories. Enrollment required. Usage subject to approval. Same-day deposits available for payments before 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday to Friday. Fees and rates apply for checking and processing. Limitations and restrictions apply. Participants compensated. Merchant services provided by Payment Tech LLC and WePay Inc. Subsidiaries of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS or go online at carsforkids.org to donate today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
She posted about us just now.
Celebrities can't get enough of Bianna's bespoke skincare line.
She has 147 million followers. How do we monetize?
She needs a social media associate to help her with the hype.
We should repost this. Do we need a hashtag?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Kansas City Steak Company, another AmericanEagle.com success story. Started in 1932 as a family-owned butcher shop, today they're a leading distributor of superior all-American steaks delivered right to your door, ready for the grill and your taste buds. When it came to their website, an average site wouldn't do. They chose AmericanEagle.com to take their website to the next level. With a dramatic increase in competition and a softening market demand, they had two challenges: improve their brand presence and message, and produce a positive return. AmericanEagle.com got to work and executed usability studies and detailed audits of site experience, digital assets, and marketing. The result? An integrated digital marketing and customer experience plan, organic traffic increase of 20%, and a long-term roadmap for success. If you love great steaks, go to KansasCitySteaks.com for website design, development, and online solutions that bring efficiency and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. If you need a results-driven website, call the team at AmericanEagle.com at 877-WebNow1. That's 877-WebNow1.
In Livermore, mostly clear overnight, lows in the mid-50s.
Weather brought to you by Pfizer and BioNTech. Whether it's the news, the traffic, the weather, or your COVID-19 vaccinations, it's important to stay up to date.
Panic at the Disco is coming to the Chase Center on October 25th, and 95.7 The Game has your tickets. For your shot to win, head to 957thegame.com/contest.
Now back to Damon and Ratto, brought to you by BMW Fairfield on 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back. It is good to have you here on 95.7 The Game, a Tuesday afternoon, about 40 minutes away from saying hello to Peter King. And at 6 o'clock tonight, we got a couple of guys who played in the NFL, Sean Salisbury and Lorenzo Neal. Going to have the football hour for you. Normally 6 o'clock on a Monday, but when the Niners play on Monday Night Football, it happens on a Tuesday. A gentleman on Twitter named Will Hammond Jr. said, if Jimmy Garoppolo is a mediocre quarterback, then Damon Bruce is a mediocre radio personality. I'm side-eyeing you until you get better. How does that feel, Damon? Well, it's fine, because I know you're lying and you know you're lying too. I'm great at this. You know that. I'm great at this. That's why you're listening to the show. Why are you listening to mediocre sports talk radio hosts? You don't do that. You listen to the good stuff. I got the puro, man. I got the uncut Colombian cocaine sports talk. It's potent. A lot of people can't handle it. A lot of people overdose. But that's okay. That's okay. First taste is free. If I ever started charging you for this, oh my God, think how much money it would cost you. You're lucky. You're lucky I'm working here on radio. For free for everyone, Ray.
Ray, what do you cut yours with?
Turn your mic on is what Ray cuts his sports talks with.
I'm just staggered by the idea that you would become Pablo Escobar for a stranger.
I am the Pablo Escobar of sports talk radio in this market.
Boy, that could be taken a number of ways.
The king. What other way could you take it? There's the guy who did it better than anyone ever has. There he is.
And he lasted all the way till his 37th birthday.
Hey, 47, baby. So you mean Pablo?
Yeah.
So you think I'm going to get gunned down?
I think the odds are getting better.
Everyone needs to calm down.
Oh, no. That's not happening.
This is...
You'd have a better chance asking for Christmas in May.
This is an outstanding defense with a middle-of-the-road offense. How far does that go? Well, sometimes it goes really far. We got a little history. I saw a Dubois bomb that inspired me to do a little research, and we'll share all that with you. But first of all, I can let you know that we had a great conversation just last week. Just last week with Kevin Harlan. Oh, he's so good to talk to. I love talking about broadcasting with him. We were supposed to talk about the Rams and Niners, and we ended up talking broadcasting, football broadcasting, NFL broadcasting, NBA broadcasting, working with broadcast partners. It was awesome. You should find it on the Odyssey app. You will love it. If you love Kevin Harlan, and I do love me some Kevin Harlan, which last night I'm in the press box, I'm sitting next to Larry Krueger, and all of a sudden there's a guy running out on the field with, what was that, a road flare? Is that what that was? What was it? Because it wasn't quite a smoke bomb. It was like he was holding a road flare or something. I even thought it might have been a gender reveal because it was kind of pink. So I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, my knowledge of automotive emergency apparatus is limited. So it could have been that, could have been anything. All I know is that the thing that I remember is Harlan was talking about how they were sitting 8 stories up, and yet he could still see the 2 holes in the turf that had burned.
Absolutely, you could. There were 2 burnt out grass patches right there, kind of around the 35, 40-ish yard line, and they were there for the rest of the game. You could see them.
I'm guessing that a gender reveal should not cost you 3 layers of skin off your hand.
It probably should. I don't think it was a gender reveal. I've been told it was some sort of like animal activist or something. I don't know. Anyways, when something like that does happen, let me just tell you, you want Kevin Harlan. You need Kevin Harlan in that radio booth. Here he was last night on Westwood One.
And here comes a stoppage in play because someone has run on the field with a smoke bomb that is pink, and he's running up the sideline. Now a couple of Rams come over there and make the tackle. Head first into the player who has taken the field, and he's in a cloud of pink smoke so you can't see him, and now on him are a couple of security guards.
Best play of the entire Rams evening was Bobby Wagner on that fan. He came right off the sideline. It just gave Neil Watford and put him right down. Bobby Wagner, when he does get to the Hall of Fame one day, that play should be on the highlight reel. Everyone in the NFL appreciated it. Kyle Shanahan said, I loved it. Peyton Manning and Eli Manning on the Manning cast endorsed it. Every player absolutely loved what Bobby Wagner did to that one fan last night. I'm glad Kevin Harlan was there. Because when a fan is on the field, you want Kevin Harlan there. Remember the 2021 Super Bowl?
5:03 to go. Someone has run on the field. Some guy with a bra. And now he's not being chased. He's running down the middle of the 40. Arms in the air in a victory salute. He's pulling down his pants. Put up your pants, my man. Pull up those pants. He's being chased to the 30. He breaks a tackle from a security guard. The 20, down the middle, the 10, the 5. He slides at the 1, and they converge on him at the goal line. Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man. And the players with hands on hips at the other end of the field are looking at him and shaking their head and saying, why, oh why is this taking place in a Super Bowl?
I mean, seriously, there should be just a just a little bit enough security around that field to not have it happen in that game.
I admire his escapability.
Hey, that guy's slippery, right? Probably make a very good rugby player. It's not just humans. Kevin Harlan will cover invading the field. Remember this?
Now he's at the 5. He's
Who brought the
walking.
cat?
He's walking to the 3. He's at the 2. And the cat is in the CDW red zone. CDW, people who get it now, a policeman, a state trooper has come on the field, and the cat runs into the end zone. That is a touchdown. And the cat is elusive, kind of like Barkley and Elliott. But he didn't know where to go. Look at, they're trying to corner him, and they got him in the end zone. There are state troopers all around this cat, which now climbs up into the stands, and the fans are running for their life. Now it goes back on the field again, and it's running in the back of the end zone, and it runs up the tunnel.
Yeah, you want Kevin Harlan on that call when someone is on the field, and if you don't mind, I'd like to bring it back to where it all started for Kevin. September of 2016, we had Niners, we had Rams, and that guy's drunk.
Hey, somebody has run out on the field. Some goofball in a hat and a red shirt. Now he takes off the shirt. He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. He's bare-chested and banging his chest. Now he runs the opposite way. He runs at the 50. He runs at the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. The 20. They're chasing him. They're not going to get him. Waving his arms, bare-chested. Somebody stop
Look
that
out,
man.
here comes the blue coat,
Oh,
Kevin.
they got him.
Here comes
They're
the
coming
blue
from the
coats.
left. Oh, and they tackle him at the 40-yard line. That was the most exciting thing to happen tonight.
I tell you what, that was a great call on your part. That was a great call.
Serendipity keeps on. But you know what? Here's the thing. I think it's to the point where you got people targeting Kevin Harlan games because they know that you're going to get a great call. I think that's what's happening. This isn't Kevin's fault. People now realize he'll immortalize me.
Yeah, last night, I don't know that his heart was fully in it. I think he's realized his best work on that is behind him. Because between the first call he ever made, which is the last thing we heard, and the cat you don't get better than that. I mean, that's it. I mean, Don Larson pitched a perfect game in the World Series. After that, he was just a pitcher.
Right, yeah. You get one totally perfect, glorious moment usually in your career, and that'll be about it.
Yeah, and, by now, I mean, maybe they are targeting him. And at that point, now you're just a foil for somebody. You tend to lose a little bit of your desire for the game.
I love it, though. I love it. And he's still good at it. As I said, Ray, there was a little bit of a Josh Dubois bomb last night. I think he's always an interesting Twitter follow. The statistics that are at his fingertips are very interesting. Very, very interesting. So he was very impressed by the 49ers defensive effort last night, and so he pulled this little nugget out. Teams since 2000 to allow fewer than 40 points to opposing offenses and fewer than 4 yards per play through 4 games. Who are these teams since 2000? Well, you got, obviously, the 2022 49ers, which have qualified for this. They've given up a grand total of 37 points through 4 weeks and 3.81 yards per play. Who knows where it ends? The other teams that did this. The 2006 Chargers, who had given up 34 points with a 3.84 yards per play. I'll tell you where they went in just a second. The 2006 Ravens also did it, giving up only 33 points and 3.78 yards. The 2002 Bucks, 34 points, 3.89. 2001 Packers, the 20 points that they allowed, definitely the lowest total here, but 3.98 yards per play. The 2001 Ravens, 33 points is all they allowed through 4 weeks with 3.38 yards per play. So let me tell you what happened to all those teams. So the 06 Chargers will work, just dance around here. The 06 Chargers were the AFC West champions. They lost in the division round to Brady and the Patriots. Phillip Rivers was their quarterback. The 2006 Ravens lost in the divisional round to Manning and the Colts. Their quarterback was Steve McNair. The 2002 Buccaneers, they went on to win the NFC South and ended up beating the Raiders in the Super Bowl. Brad Johnson was their quarterback. The 2001 Packers finished second in the NFC Central. They beat the 49ers in the wild card and then lost a division round against the Rams. Their quarterback was Brett Favre. The 2001 Ravens, second in the AFC Central. They beat the Dolphins in the wild card, then lost to the Steelers in the divisional round. Their quarterback was Elvis Gerbach. So basically, since 2000, any team that has started with a defense in the neighborhood that the 49ers defense is living in, all of them are playoff teams. They usually win their division. They usually get a home game. When teams with inferior quarterbacks, though, start getting into postseason play, that's when they get into trouble because by definition, you're going up against another pretty good defense. Maybe not historically good, but in the moment of that season, a very good defense. When Jimmy Garoppolo runs into very good defenses, and whoever quarterback he is playing against runs into the Niners defense, who do you have more faith to figure that out in? That's why this season could stop without a Super Bowl championship. Or maybe he really is Brad Johnson. Maybe he really is a guy that, went far with a defense as good as this. I'll tell you who's got the good news in all this, Ray. The defensive coordinators of all of these defenses. Every single one of them that really wanted to go on to be an NFL head coach became an NFL head coach. This statistic, as much as I'd like to apply it to the 49ers and the year that they're about to have, it's probably better applied to the career that DeMeco Ryans is going to be invited to have by another NFL team here in probably 13 more regular season games and whatever postseason. DeMeco Ryans is definitely a top 3 head coaching candidate next year. Full stop. That's easy to see right now. The Chargers defensive coordinator in 2006 was Wade Phillips. He went on to be a head coach. The Ravens defensive coordinator in 06, Rex Ryan, went on to be a head coach. The Bucs defensive coordinator in 02 was Monty Kiffin, who went on record saying that he never really wanted to be a head coach. Like, Monty Kiffin did not want that top job. He was happy being a defensive coordinator. He knew that was his side of the ball. Packers defensive coordinator in 2001, Ed Donatel. Now, I don't know if he checks the box of, I never wanted to be a head coach. He never has been a head coach. And as a matter of fact, he still remains a coach in this league. He's the defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings right now.
Yeah, I don't know if he's ever been interviewed, to be honest, because I think he's sort of pigeonholed as the eternal assistant.
Yeah, and some guys are very comfortable in that. And Donatel's been enough to where if he wanted to rattle his saber and get interviews, he probably would have had them by now.
Yeah, well, Vic Fangio never rattled sabers, but he desperately wanted it until he finally got it in Denver. I mean, I think almost everybody coaching the NFL at any position fancies himself a head coach at some point. There are just some guys who get asked and a lot who don't. And most of the ones who get asked now are on the offensive side of the ball.
I mean, I think remember Monty Kiffin saying, I don't want to be a head coach. So that's one. I mean, that's one.
But I think he might be that rarest of animals.
Right. By the way, the Ravens defensive coordinator in 2001 was Marvin Lewis. Went on to be a head coach, obviously, for a long time in Cincinnati. So the amount of Dubois bomb that I thought in that stat basically says the following 2 things. The 49ers are going to be a playoff team this year. Where it ends beyond that, varying results. We've seen defenses as good as them win Super Bowls. We've seen defenses as good as theirs fall short. What we also see is that D'Amico Ryans, I hope, is renting and has not bought in the Bay Area.
He doesn't make enough money to buy Liam.
Well, that's not a sin around here, obviously. But I guarantee you he could have bought in the Bay Area at some point. D'Amico Ryans is very well paid as this team's defensive coordinator. He is a multimillionaire. There's no doubt in my mind. And he should be, and he will make even more money when he is promoted to head coach, probably next year. So that means whatever you're looking at right now, it is going to begin the cycle again of who's going to be the next D'Amico Ryans, who replaced Robert Saleh, who went on to be a head coach. Kyle's defensive coordinators get jobs. Kyle's got a little bit of a coaching tree. When D'Amico becomes a head coach, that'll be his, third official was on my staff, went on to be a head coach. No, fourth. I forgot about Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur is a head coach. Mike McDaniel is a head coach. Robert Saleh is a head coach. D'Amico Ryans is going to be a head coach. For a guy who's only been up to this as a head coach himself, year number 6 now for Shanahan, to have 4 branches directly off of his tree, that's a testament.
Well, it's a measure of how he is viewed within the industry. As much as people around here want to carp about him for one reason or another, he's regarded as a guy who's not only benefited from good staffs, has assembled good staffs and distributed them around the league. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Defense certainly carried the night last night. Huge game-sealing play from Talanoa Hufanga. Kyle Shanahan on Hufanga's big play.
Not hesitating. It's a play that they run a lot. It's a play that we ran a lot. That's a really scary one just to tee off on. You better be right. And whether you're playing with vision, watching the quarterback, watching the tackle come out, watching the blocking scheme, I think anyone who's seen Huff play this year and even last year, the guy doesn't hesitate. And if you do that, you better make some very good educated guesses, or I'm not long before you give up the big plays and keep both teams in the game. And that's what Huff's been really impressive with here this year.
Again, he's got some hands, he's got good eyes, he's got good instincts, and he picked his moment to attack, and he attacked right. Last night we saw a corner for the Los Angeles Rams pick a moment to attack, and he attacked wrong. And thanks to Jimmy's impeccable ball placement, or the luck that it just happened to be a little high and to the right of Debo, got away with it. Talanoa Hufanga, tell me what you saw on your pick six.
But we're just man coverage, locked up with the tight end, and then, they just been running screens all night. So, I just kind of saw a different release than I'm used to, and I just, instead of really going and following my man, I just turned my head and ball kind of dropped in my face, I ain't gonna lie. So, thought Stafford was gonna catch me, I ain't gonna lie. My 40 time doesn't help when it comes to that. So, but definitely, just very grateful to just go out there with my guys and have fun. So.
You had 2 guys out there dominating that game who don't have robust 40 times. Hufanga and then Cooper Kupp. I mean, Cooper Kupp I was talking to Larry last night. He's like, dude, this guy's 4'6". Look at what he's doing. I'm like, he's a little taller than that, Larry. He's like, no, that's not what I mean. I'm like, I know that's not what you meant, but it really is something else. There are certain guys who they just got what you have to call football speed. In underpants, running in a straight line, not impressive. In pads, running all over a field, impressive as hell.
He goes to the open place, and he goes there with extraordinary efficiency. That's why I kind of compared him to Fred Biletnikoff, who was significantly slower than Kupp is. But you knew where he'd be because he knew where the gap was going to be.
Oh, and he caught everything. He was like a magnet for a football.
Yeah, but he was in a position to catch everything because he knew where to go to make life easy for the quarterback he was playing for. And that's what Kupp does now.
It was a big hitting game for the Niners defense last night, and you could see them out-physical the Rams in yet another game here, which I'm telling you, if Sean McVay, who has the ultimate feather in his cap in the argument of how much one team owns the other here, because in the biggest game that the Rams and Niners could ever conceivably play, since it's technically impossible they meet in the Super Bowl, it's the NFC title game. And when you win the NFC title game, the regular season win-loss record becomes a lot easier to digest, even it's as lopsided as as this regular season record that Kyle Shanahan has over McVay now is. But the one thing that has to upset you as a coach when you know you get out physicaled every single time you're playing this team, you know that they've got the bodies who are leaving your bodies just beat up at the end of it. Hufanga last night said that the Niners prepared for this. They knew it was going to be, he called it, an ice bag game.
We knew it was going to be an ice bag game. I hear this word. I never heard that word until I got here, honestly. I love the word, actually, because it's cool. But every time we play these guys, it's a physical matchup. And so for us as a defense, we want to be the rock. We want to be solid on defense, and we want to stand our ground and just go out there and swarm. When you swarm around the ball and the guys are just flying around, it just makes football so much more fun. So it's a blessing just to be on this defense and be a part of it. Whether I'm on the sideline cheering on my guys, I just want to do my job and everything I can. So D'Amico is a heck of a coach and a heck of a person as well.
I love everything about him. I love the way he plays. I love the way he talks. I love the way he interviews. I love his podium game. Talanoa Hufanga. I'm in. I'm all in on this kid. I really am. I'm really impressed.
Don't get too carried away. That's what you did with Joey Bart.
Joey Bart, you can hear it off the bat.
Yes, you can.
Ended up having a real good turn-it-around year.
Part of a year.
Still going to go over 500. Well, maybe.
He's got to play on a team that's over 500 first.
They are 500. They're 80 and 80.
They're 80 and 80.
Don't sleep on them now, Ray. 82 and 80 is out there.
So is 80 and 82.
You're right about that. When we do come on back, we have much more for you, and we are now 20 minutes away from talking to the king of all NFL media. Peter King joins us at 5 o'clock here on 95.7 The Game. We're brought to you by Fremont Bank. Full-service banking, no compromises.
The 49ers defense is nasty.
They're down to 9. Bosa. The sack. They take it to him, and Stafford is sacked up near the 30. Abercom, the former Ram, got it.
I think it's best in the league. All three levels is elite players.
This one is juggle pick. Here goes Hufanga. Pick 6.
This is the Bay Area's sports station. 95.7 The Game.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately. Like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call power.
Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Get the Xfinity Supersonic Bundle with unlimited gig speed internet, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free 4K streaming box. All for $50 a month with a 2-year internet rate guarantee and no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New Gigabit Extra internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes wireless usage. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Requires compatible Xfinity gateway.
The following is an attorney advertisement. If you get sidelined by a workplace injury, the workers' compensation attorneys at Boxer & Gerson can help get you back in the game. Our team of skilled attorneys will fight by your side for the treatment and compensation you deserve. We care about justice for injured workers. That's what makes us Northern California's premier workers' comp law firm. Call Boxer & Gerson at 510-345-2341 or visit boxerlaw.com for a free consultation. Boxer & Gerson, your life is worth the fight.
Cache Creek Casino Resort is the place for the biggest names and the very best in live entertainment. On November 5th, catch multi-Grammy Award winners Train. Then on November 12th and 13th, experience America's Game in person when Wheel of Fortune Live takes the stage. This is your time to cash in at Cache Creek Casino Resort. Find tickets and see our full lineup at cashcreek.com.
Do you think all premium fuels are the same? Well, your engine doesn't. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus helps keep your engine running like new because it's engineered to defend against 4 main engine threats: gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. So next time, choose Shell's most advanced fuel ever. It's fuel for thought. In engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline.
Hi, Hi, this is George with Left Coast Buyers. We buy properties all over California. If you own a house or an apartment building and want to sell it fast at a great price, call us at 925-434-5000. We can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. We buy properties in any condition, any price range, and can help you in any situation. Do you own a property that is run down and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Are you out of time, money, and energy? Let us help. Are you looking for an easy way to get top dollar for your property and sell on your terms and timeline? Well, call Left Coast Buyers now at 925-434-5000. We can solve any problem. We buy divorce houses, inherited houses. We even buy vacant houses and abandoned houses. Do you have a tenant who hasn't paid rent? Are you behind on property taxes, mortgage payments, or even facing a foreclosure? Even if you're just nervous about capital gains or an upcoming recession, we've seen it all. So if you or someone you know owns a property and needs to sell, call Left Coast Buyers at 925-434-5000. That's 925-434-5000.
At Harris Ranch, we do beef, just like we've done for over 50 years. Beef that's raised locally right here in California. Tender steaks, awesome burgers, and California classics like tri-tip roast. The flavor you crave, the quality you trust time after delicious time. Come on, it's time to get out and grill. Harris Ranch, we do beef. Legendary beef, legendary quality.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Are you tired of being tracked online? There's a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with the push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Neuropathy pain? Call Dr. Robert Dees, DC, 925-393-0100.
Get a cash offer for your car, truck, or SUV today at your local Bay Area Chevy dealers. Selling has never been easier. Just bring it into a Bay Area Chevy dealer, get a free appraisal, and we'll make you a cash offer on the spot with no obligation to buy. We buy any make or model, paid off or not. Find your local Chevy dealer at BayAreaChevroletDealers.com.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you 24/7 with supplies and solutions for every industry and access to product specialists ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Imagine a world with endless possibilities. I'm talking endless saving and endless hot showers. Yeah, you heard me right. Endless hot showers. With Navien, that dream is now a reality. Navien tankless water heaters deliver a continuous flow of hot water for as long as you need it. No waiting for a tank to reheat more water, wasting time and energy. The compact design saves you space and money in comparison to traditional tank water heaters. It's time to make the switch and make your hot water dreams come true. Visit tanklessmadesimple.com.
Another 100 yards against the 49ers again for Cooper Kupp. This one is juggled, picked. There goes Hufanga. Hufanga, touchdown, San Francisco. Pick six.
Now back to Damon and Ratto, brought to you by BMW Fairfield on 95.7 The Game.
Absolutely love him. Talanoa Hufanga, right in the middle of a huge game-turning play last night for the 49ers as their defense guided them back to the win column. Offense along for the ride, obviously. No mistakes. It was a mistake-free night for the 49ers offense in terms of crippling mistakes. And the 49ers get back to 2-2. The entire NFC West, by the way, deuces. Everybody in the West is deuces. Everybody's got a 2-2 record, yet only one team is 2 wins up on the division, and that's the 49ers. Their 2 wins are against division opponents, and that's what separates their 2-2 from the other 2-2s right now. We have an awful lot to get to. Peter King in about 10 minutes, Ray. Everybody's got their go-to meal at their favorite restaurants. It's time for the Butcher Boy to pop back in the kitchen for episode 2 of the Go-Tos, presented by Trimark. You can check out Butcher Boy, who visited 00 Dopa Zero. It's a pizza place. Check it out on 957thegame.com. Speaking of Butcher Boy, and the morning show, the morning roast, they had Jerry Rice on today. Jerry Rice was asked to compare one UFC current Niner to a former USC, not UFC. I don't care about Ultimate Fighting. USC, Men of Troy. Sorry there. Lucas, you looking at me funny now?
No, we're good. We're good.
All right, good. Fight on.
Big night.
Big night. Here is Jerry Rice talking about Talanoa Hufanga.
I basically see the same thing. He's all over the field making plays. You can tell, that he's very smart. He's intelligent. He knows his opponent. It's like one of these. It's like the interception play. Mm-hmm. He already knew that was coming. Mm-hmm. He knew it. The way he broke on that, so certain formations and stuff like that, he knew that was coming. And to have that focus, that mindset, then to finish it off. Because, you can know it's coming, but you still got to be able to finish the play. That was something that Bill Walsh always talked about. He was saying, a lot of guys can, get in position, but then all of a sudden they can't finish the play. He got all of that. And like I said, very smart. He's a playmaker, and, he's going to cause a lot of havoc, on that football field.
Jerry Rice on the morning roast, and I'm guessing every single player in the secondary who's ever come out of USC, as soon as they're drafted, is by default compared to Ronnie Lott, and then very few reputations ever live up to those standards. The highest standards a player in a secondary could have. Ronnie Lott is one of the all-timers. Talanoa Hufanga is off to a fantastic start, and you can't ask for more than that.
That's all you got. He's been good in the games he's played.
Very good.
And it's hard to be good in games you haven't played. So he's done as well as he can.
Yeah. But, I feel good projecting. And look, the whole Joey Bart, you can hear it off the bat thing. I'm blaming that on the pandemic. I was just dying to talk about something. So probably shouldn't have come down huge on Joey.
Pointing the fingers at a defenseless disease.
Yeah, sorry.
Just you.
Didn't mean to rip you, COVID. But, no, look, there is something going on here with Talanoa Hufanga, which is just, it's legit. What is it? I don't know what it is. If I did, I'd bottle it and I'd sell it. But I think I can spot it when I see it. And man, this kid is covered in it, whatever that is, so far in his career. Jerry Rice, who obviously knew a thing or two about dominating a game at the wide receiver position, was asked a really interesting question about how come, if Jalen Ramsey really truly is one of the best corners in football, why doesn't he just follow around Deebo Samuel all night long? Just one for one. Wherever you go, I go. Here's what Jerry had to say about that.
Looking at that game last night, you would think that, Ramsey would follow him all over the field. But they don't do that. I think him and Brandon Ayuk, they had the altercation last night.
Yeah.
Where they got, tangled up a little bit. But, if you're going to, back in the day, you would put your best corner on your best receiver. You don't see a lot of that with the run-pass option and stuff like that.
It doesn't happen quite as much as it used to, where a shutdown corner would just follow the, number one wideout no matter where he went. Jalen Ramsey's never really played like that. He doesn't break off his side of the field, I don't think, to defend anyone in particular.
I'm not sure that any of them do anymore. I think that's a passe defense in some ways. The idea that we're going to put our guy on your guy and we'll see what happens. No, they've got schemes so that you can give their best guy different looks. So it's not just about him beating you or you beating him. It's you got to beat us. And we're going to show you a bunch of different things, see if you can beat all of those. So yeah, I don't think there is that sort of classic shutdown corner anymore.
Guy would make an awful lot of money if there was.
Yeah, but I don't think coaches ask for that anymore. I think they like secondary schemes, not individual secondary players.
Well, a lot of these teams are playing a little bit of a mix and match of man and zone all in the same play.
Yeah, so you can't have a shutdown corner in that. You're basically saying we're going to show you a bunch of different looks and make you think on every play. I think that is modern secondary football.
Now, I know you're always hesitant to predict greatness And in a sport as violent and things change so quickly in football, it's probably a little harder to do it in football than maybe even other sports. Like you're finally coming around to Steph Curry, I would hope, at this point.
A couple more years.
Let me just tell you, if Nick Bosa just stays healthy a couple more years, he truly will go down as one of the greatest defenders in the history of the San Francisco 49ers. His name will be on that top line with who? Ronnie Lott, Patrick Willis, Fred Dean. Real quick, Ray, all-time Niners top defenders all time.
Leo Nomalini's in the Hall of Fame. Charles Haley. Matt Hazeltine, I think, is in the Hall of Fame.
Did Justin Smith have enough reps with the Niners to be considered an all-time great Niner?
He was their best defensive player for a lot of years, for the years he was here. So I think you could put him in there. He might be down the list a bit because he wasn't always a 49er. You usually give benefit of the doubt to lifers.
Right. Kevin Green.
His best work was with the Rams.
It was, definitely.
I mean, you could say the same of Jack Reynolds. I mean, he was very helpful in that first Super Bowl, but he was largely a Ram.
Either way, Nick Bosa has a chance to put himself on the one line. He keeps playing like this. He is a human pressure waiting to happen. He had 14 quarterback pressures alone last night. He leads the NFL in 30, with 30 quarterback pressures. Think of that. 30 quarterback pressures, half of them in just last night's game. He was spectacular. He was 3 tackles and 2 sacks last night. He's got now, I believe, an NFL best 6 sacks on the year. He's got 30 and a half sacks for his career, which already has him tied for 10th most in team history. Bosa became the first member of the 49ers ever to register 1 or more sacks in each of his first 4 weeks of the season. He's now registered 1.5 or more sacks in a game 11 times in his career, including twice already this season. In his 39 career games, he's got 30 and a half sacks. He's also the most held defender in the NFL and pretty much has been since the day he joined the league. I mean, they hold Nick Bosa, and I'm not just saying the Rams do. Anyone playing Nick Bosa holds Nick Bosa to the point where it's almost like the way the Legion of Boom played defense. You know, we're going to basically pass interfere on every single play of the game and just dare you to call it. Nick Bosa is held on every play of the game, just dare you to call it. Unless he's coming around some incredible stunt and he's just clean to the quarterback. He got to Stafford like that last night when he basically hopped on his back and pulled him down by the hips. This guy gets even better in the postseason. He's got 8 sacks in 6 career playoff games. Nick Bosa is officially on his way to being one of the greatest Niner defensive players of all time. That's who he is. And if he stays healthy, Ray, that's where he goes. Like, I have seen enough of him to tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really project that there's going to be a massive downturn in his career, barring injury. I mean, he probably has created enough of a resume that's a reasonable estimate to make.
Yeah.
I mean, just it's now almost, you almost don't have to mention his name anymore. You accept that as a condition of playing the 49ers.
He's inevitable. I mean, Bosa has become inevitable on a football field. He is going to get a sack in this game. He is going to make the quarterback's day miserable. And if he, for some reason, gets shut down, he will be the key that unlocks another of his own teammates' performance because there's so much concentration on him. Here comes Eric Armstead. Here comes Hassan Ridgeway. Here comes Charles Omenihu. Here comes DJ Jones. Nick Bosa got DJ Jones paid.
Listen, in that way, his comp, weirdly enough, even though he played a different position, is Justin Smith. Because Justin Smith got people paid, too. Because he's the guy who, if he wasn't being blocked by 2 guys, he would seek out a second guy and take him in so that the people around him had easier paths either to the quarterback or the running back. That's what elite defenders do.
Last night, Bosa was asked, is this the best defense in football? And here's what he said.
I think it's best in the league. That's kind of our mindset every year, and this year we have the personnel to do it. Not that we haven't in the past, but just all three levels is elite players. I think the addition of Charvarius and Huff starting to play at this level, and obviously we're going to get Jimmy and Verrett back, which is pretty scary. And then the depth on the D-line, guys like Hassan and Charles and Sampson's coming on. I think he's playing his best ball of his career. So it's a group effort.
Yeah. Ebukam last night, 4 tackles, 2 sacks, a quarterback hit, tackle for a loss. Ridgway was great. Dre Greenlaw, I mean, shame on us for not even saying his name until right now. He had 15 tackles last night. He was fantastic. By the way, welcome to your 5 o'clock hour.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app. Damn well better be free.
Every single Tuesday, we get an audience with the king himself. Peter King joins us here on 95.7 The Game. Peter, thank you very, very much. The entire world got to watch the 49ers just sort of wreck the Rams last night. They really, really put it on them, held them to essentially 9 points, and it could have even been 6 had Gibson not dropped a breadbasket interception in the end zone. What was your biggest takeaway from Monday Night Football concerning the Niners last night?
Well, the biggest takeaway was clearly that if they stay relatively healthy on defense, they will be playing deep into January, because you don't need to be a great offensive team when your defense can do what this defense does. Now, we need to preface all of the praise for the defense, on one pretty important thing. Mount Whitworth is gone from the Rams offensive line, and now you can see why, he was one of their 5 most valuable players over the last, over the whole time that Sean McVay has been there. You plug him in at left tackle and forget it. But, the Rams have some massive issues, like massive. I don't think this is just something you can say, well, it's only one night. They've got issues on the offensive line. They've got issues with Allen Robinson. They got issues with any receiver who's not named Cooper Kupp. And, they're good enough on defense, no question about it. But if they're going to be non-competitive because of that offensive line on offense, it's going to be a hard year for them. But the 49ers, to me, when I look at them, they also had an awful lot of absolutely no-name guys you've never heard of on the offensive line, playing a lot of football last night. And, Jimmy Garoppolo in his sack category, 0 for 0 yards. And that doesn't mean it was perfect, because it wasn't. But I think that the 49ers figured out a formula in this game on how to win. Run it good enough, and I'm sure Kyle Shanahan will say we can run it better, but run it good enough behind a kind of a shaky offensive line, but definitely good enough last night. And then put it in the hands of Jimmy Garoppolo. And, he's not going to be Dan Marino, but he's going to be efficient enough, and he's going to be able to find Deebo Samuel enough, to make to play a very good game.
It sounds like you've sort of decided that the 49ers ought to be pretty good, all conditions remaining relatively the same, and the Rams are going to struggle, all conditions remaining relatively the same. Are there any other teams in the NFC for which you can say that, or is this going to be the kind of conference where anybody who can win 11 games owns the conference outright?
Ray, you know what happens? On October 4th, you can make a lot of grandiose statements. And on January 4th, you look back and laugh at them. So all I can go by is basically what we saw last night and what we've seen in the first 4 weeks. Right now, it's almost been a feudal division. There's one division where everybody's 2-2, and that's the NFC West. And, San Francisco right now has a gigantic advantage because they're the only one of those 4 teams that's 2-0 in the division. So you look at it and you basically say, okay, they're 2-4 or 2-2 in the division. They've won both. They're better than anybody in the division in net points. So I like where the 49ers are right now. But again, you know what happens, and we've seen it a lot. So far in the first quarter of the season, Nick Bosa is the defensive player of the year. But, Nick Bosa also has to last 17 games. He's lasted 4. And I'm not saying there's an injury wish, or I don't mean anything like that. But in the NFL, you see it every single week. The New York Giants are 3-1 somehow, some way, and they got 94 people injured right now. I don't know who is going to play against the Packers Sunday in London, and I don't know that they're going to look anything like a 3-1 team. They may be down to a quarterback who's not even on the roster yet. We don't even know. But anyway, the whole point I'm making is that if everybody stays healthy, everybody stays the same for the next 3 months, which of course is not going to happen for the next 3 days. But if everything stays the same, the 49ers are going to play deep into this season. But again, it's a battle of attrition, and so much of this is going to depend on the depth that, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan and Adam Peters have built with this roster.
And they're about to get Jason Verrett and Jimmy Ward back, so that could make this already, pretty nasty defensive unit even nastier. And the way that this kind of all goes, Peter, it looks like, Kyle, who has not been a head coach long enough to have a robust coaching tree, it looks like he's going to have a 4th branch soon enough. I mean, McDaniel's a head coach, Sal is a head coach, LaFleur is a head coach, and DeMeco Ryans has to be next in line based on the results his side of the football is getting, doesn't he?
I would think he's going to have a really good chance. The whole issue with DeMeco Ryans is we just had a year, I think I'm right in saying this, where there were 7 new head coaches in the NFL, and only 1 came from the defensive side of the ball, Matt Eberflus. So, we'll see. I mean, I'm wrong on that because obviously Todd Bowles was there too, so it's 2. But you're right. He absolutely deserves a shot based on what he has built there and based on the fact that it's an offensive head coach who has had a gigantic job to do because the offense needs so much help, or has needed so much help in his 6 seasons here. So I really hope DeMeco Ryans gets a shot, and I think he definitely deserves one, and we'll see how many openings there are and who wants to take a shot on a defensive guy. I mean, a lot of that, honestly, guys, comes down to when DeMeco Ryans walks into the room, they say, okay, who's your offensive coordinator? And I don't know who that would be, but there are so many good young coaches in the NFL right now on the offensive side of the ball that I think that shouldn't be a major stumbling block if they like the leadership and if they like what DeMeco Ryans will bring to the table.
There's no doubt it's an offensive league, but in such an offensive league, maybe a defensive coach can help you navigate through it. I mean, we all know that this goes in cycles. Peter, Talanoa Hufanga is leaving everyone's jaws on the floor, right? I mean, you go ahead. Just tell me what you think, what you've heard about this guy.
What I'm saying is, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, first of all, I didn't have any idea who this guy was. this summer, and I started hearing about him a little bit. Oh, okay, fine. Works out with Troy Polamalu. Troy has been so influential in his life and all that. And I think it's really what I think is important to look at and important to realize about young players, particularly in a defense like this one. And again, this is going to sound a little odd, but I think it is so important, even when your defense is really good, okay? Even when your defense is really good, it's so important to get new talent throughout the entire draft. Dre Greenlaw, who you were just talking about before, he is a former 5th-round pick. And obviously, Hufanga is also a 5th-round pick from 2021. And so you've got to reinvigorate your roster throughout every round of the draft. And if you go back to their first draft when they got George Kittle in the 5th round, that sort of puts a little salve on the fact that they picked Solomon Thomas and Reuben Foster in the 1st round that year. So if you're good throughout the draft, be able to put deodorant on picks like Solomon Thomas and Reuben Foster, and I think that's what this team has done. They have picked pretty well consistently on the 3rd day of the draft, and it holds them in good stead right now with players like Hufanga, who clearly is going to be a major factor in that secondary for the rest of this year. The way he plays, this is one hungry dude.
The game last night was supposed to be kind of a referendum on how good the 49er defense was in general, because their first 3 games are against teams that don't generate much offense. Now they have games against Carolina and Atlanta, which are sort of meh, and then they host Kansas City in Week 7. Is that the great litmus test for whether this is an elite defense or a generational defense?
Ray, honestly, you know what I think? I think the great test for this defense is coming out of this. Doesn't it seem like the 49ers every year have a 2-game Eastern time zone trip? And I'd like to look that up. I should look it up. But I think there's a couple of years where they started the season twice in Eastern time and then, went back to the West Coast.
They used to go to Youngstown and set up shop, and then they were like, wait a minute, the Greenbrier's a 5-star hotel. Let's go there.
Exactly. Well, the Greenbrier, that was the year, remember the Greenbrier, which was 2 years ago or 3 years ago, when they got absolutely mauled in the first game of the season. I mean, they won the game, but they got so beat up against the Jets that it ended up hurting them for a lot of that season, obviously. But the thing I would say about your question, I would say that real litmus test for this team and this defense is to take care of business in 2 games that everybody thinks that you should win. There are so few games in the NFL that end up being gimme. They just don't exist very much anymore. Everybody is so close. And so as much as you might say, I mean, we could sit here and say, oh, they are so much better than Carolina, and they are probably significantly better as well. They're significantly better than Atlanta. But I would just say one thing, kind of be careful about what you wish for here. I mean, the Carolina Panthers, so far this year have played excellent in the defensive secondary. They've got a very aggressive, good coordinator in Phil Snow. They've played well enough on defense to be 3-1, and yet they're 1-3. So anyway, I think the thing I would say is forget about the Chiefs game in 3 weeks. I know the fans will think that's a big game, sexy, and all that stuff. The 49ers got to take care of business and win these 2 games and get to 4-2, so that they have the ability then to not make too much of this, of this game against Kansas City. And in the NFL, you got to win the games you got to win. And these next 2 games, regardless of the venue, they got to win these 2 games.
And this offense has to generate a little bit more than what was obviously an acceptable level of offense last night. You're just asking your defense for too much. And we just saw the Chiefs go through one of the best defenses in football in Tampa Bay like they were butter. So, yeah, that is going to be a huge game coming up after this 2-game road trip. Peter King with us here on 95.7 The Game. Looking around the NFL to ask you questions around the league, Peter, it feels impossible to look past the conversations of concussions that have come up based on what happened to Tua in Cincinnati. As you're looking at the outrage die down and the actual response from the NFL, people want a response from the NFL. Do you think we're going to get a better, safer, healthier league looking at concussions? Or is this lip service to the moment and this moment will pass?
If it is, the NFL is making a gigantic mistake. Gigantic. The other day I asked for responses. I went on Twitter and I said, hey, I'd love to hear your direct responses to what you've seen with Tua Tagovailoa over the last few days. And particularly I'd like to hear from parents of kids in youth football or high school football. And I got, 80 some odd responses. And the most interesting one was from a guy in Andover, Massachusetts, who has a 9-year-old son. And this is a guy, he told me, he played 4 years of high school football, 4 years of college football. It has played a big role in making him the person he is, and he wants his 9-year-old son one day to play football. So he watches football with his wife, and he's watching the game on Thursday night after watching the previous weekend. And, his wife's a fan, and after the Tua thing happens, and he's laying on the ground and he's got to get stretchered off, his wife turns to him and said, and that is why Charlie is not playing football. And, as he said in his letter to me, I had no comeback. What could I say? And, we can talk about the immediacy of this story and the importance of this story, and of course it's important. It's hugely important to the people who play this game. But it's also important to the NFL in 2040 and in 2035, because you better have a pool other than high school football players in Florida and California and Georgia and Louisiana, okay? And, where everybody loves football and they don't care how dangerous it is. It's such a tradition there that people are going to keep playing. You got to care about the places that like football right now, and you don't want to lose them either as fans or as a potential pipeline. So I think that is something the NFL is considering very strongly. And about what will happen with this, Mike Florio said on Football Night in America on Sunday, and I think he's absolutely right. I've talked to Alan Sills, the NFL's medical director, about it, and I think Mike hit the nail on the head in that they are very likely in the NFL to eliminate players from playing once they have demonstrated gross motor instability. That is the big phrase in the concussion protocol. And if you remember, 9 days ago, when Tua Tagovailoa is playing against the Buffalo Bills, and he gets knocked to the turf by Matt Milano, the Buffalo linebacker, and when he gets up, he's woozy. and has to go down to one knee because he can't walk. He's just woozy. He's like a punch-drunk fighter. And they took him in at halftime, and he convinced them somehow, some way, that it was his back. The two medical officials with him told the Dolphins that he was okay to play. But the only thing I'm saying is right now, Florio reports that is going to mean once you've demonstrated gross motor instability, for whatever reason, your day is done. It's all over. Can't play anymore. That is a very big step in the right direction. And I think the other step that they need to take, that they're thinking about taking, is really ratcheting up the difficulty of return to play on the concussion protocol. So in other words, yeah, you'll be out that week if you demonstrate gross motor instability. But there's going to be significant, well, I shouldn't say there will be. They're discussing a more stringent back to football thing that a player must pass before he's able to play again. So I think both of those are steps in the right direction.
Conspiracy lunatic that I am, is there any talk in conjunction with these about punishment for a defensive player, or a player who causes that injury? Because it seems to me that the loophole that your standard defensive coach would suggest is, look, even if you've got to get kicked out of the game, if you could take their quarterback out, we're good with that. Is there any indication that they want to twin this with a more punitive view of people who deliver blows?
Not that I've heard of, Ray, but I think what's going on right now is that the NFL is trying to make a deal with the NFLPA about, what exactly to do about the whole return to play and about concussions. Now, the rules, they don't have to discuss with the NFLPA. So, I mean, I haven't heard this. It wouldn't shock me, but I'm not sure that what Matt Milano did, which wasn't flagged on the field because, in essence, he just pushed Tua Tagovailoa down a split second after he got rid of the ball. I don't know how you then say to Matt Milano, if let's just say that play was found to have made, given to a concussion, which according to the doctors, then it wasn't. But if it was, I don't know how, if a guy doesn't get penalized on the field, you then say you're suspended for a week for that hit, which by NFL rule wasn't illegal. And if he didn't get a head injury on it, nobody would be saying anything about it.
The other thing that I would wonder is whether this is the kind of issue where labor and management can put aside their decades of animosity and actually work together in a sort of non-confrontational way to not just address the problem, but actively make it better. Because a couple of flaws in the system as it's been is they allow teams to sort of either hire the inspecting doctor or have sort of influence over him. And the second thing is listening to players who say they're okay. Is there any indication that can happen to the point where they stop asking players how they're doing and just say, look, you hit your head. We don't care if you're doing great right now. You're done for the night, because that's what safety is. We're not asking you how you feel about it.
Well, I guess I'd say two things to that, Ray. Number one, the unaffiliated neurotrauma consultants. When this first was put into play, and these are neurologists, very high profile in many cases, traumatic brain surgeons, people who've studied the human brain a lot. A lot of these people are at the very high level of the medical field as it relates to study and treatment of the brain. And over the last week or so, I think one of the things that I have heard that is a little bit disturbing to me is that these guys, let's say the chairman of the neurology department at Harvard is the guy on the Patriots sideline. And if, the Patriots quarterback goes down and is woozy and everything, it boggles my mind to think that people would jump to the conclusion that the guy who is the unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant working the Patriots game, who works at the highest level of the brain as it relates to brain health in the United States, would then go, and even if the Patriots quarterback was a little bit woozy, if he would say, this guy's okay to go back in. I mean, saying that doesn't happen or couldn't happen or anything, but to assume that it does happen, I just have a big problem with that.
What if I told you, Peter, that the guy who cleared Tua had him as his fantasy quarterback? No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, you're right. That is not part of any respectable level of medicine.
The only thing I'm saying, guys, is that there has been a lot of jumping to conclusions over the last 9 days by people who have absolutely no idea how this system works, how the hiring of these guys work. And look, there's a decent chance that they made a mistake after the Tua was allowed to go back in against Buffalo. It sure looks like it to me, and it looks like it to most people. However, I can't jump to the conclusion that they absolutely made a mistake, and I certainly wouldn't jump to the conclusion that the whole system, is flawed and corrupt.
Peter, I want to wrap up with this, because when you're not sitting at a Monday Night Football game, when you're not in the press box, I assume you're sitting on your couch in your lazy boy, wherever you're most comfortable in your house, and you're watching the game and taking notes and thinking about what from that game might be in your column. You're never not working a game, even if you're not in the press box working the game. I'm sure of that. Do you ever flip over to the Manning cast? Do you flip back and forth between Joe Buck and Peyton Manning?
I watched a lot of it last night, and it was, look, I went to the Eagles-Jaguars game on Sunday. I don't go to a lot of games. I might go to 4 or 5 regular season games a year, and then I go to a game every week in the playoffs. But I don't go to a lot of games anymore. But I went to the Eagles, and I spent 10 minutes after the game with Jalen Hurts, and I was overwhelmingly impressed with who he is, a lot of the things I learned about him while I was there. And I thought it was sad that, he had most of the second quarter or whatever, and like everyone was a 3 and out. Every time that Eli or Peyton had an interesting thing to talk to him about, they had to go to a commercial. So you didn't really get to see the kind of intelligent, insightful Jalen Hurts who I think really exists. But yeah, I'm really interested in the Manning cast. I think it's fascinating. And the way I do it is, like, if John Hamm comes on, I'm going to watch Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.
Right.
And I like it just Eli watching the game and talking to each other. That is about my favorite time. I have no interest in watching The Rock, watching Hollywood stars. I'm sure everybody in California loved it. I have no interest in watching Steph Curry, talk about the game. Steph Curry's a great guy, evidently. But
what do you think's coming on second down, Steph? I don't know.
Exactly. But I think, look, and this was in 2012, so it was 10 years ago. I had a long interview with a guy, because my contract was expiring at SI, Sports Illustrated. And I had a long interview with John Walsh, who is really the brains of almost everything, at the baseline of what ESPN has become. He's a brilliant programmer, just a brilliant person, I thought. And so we were in a hotel having lunch in Washington, and I don't know, we spent about 3 hours together, and we talked about a lot of things. And I asked him about all the different things that he did at ESPN. And one of the things he told me that day is he said, listen, in order to really be good at almost anything, you've got to take chances. So we might put 10 new shows on every year. And if one of them works, you throw 10 things against the wall, one of them sticks, and you're happy. He goes, that's how we found Pardon the Interruption. Who in the world thought that Tony Kornheiser and Mike Wilbon would ever be great together on TV? Nobody. But we said, let's give it a shot, and look what happened. And so I think one of the things, this is a product of what John Walshization of ESPN was, which is, let's just try a bunch of cool stuff. And I think that the Manning cast is a really, really good idea. I probably spend a third to a half of my time every Monday watching them, and then the other time watching Buck and Aikman.
Yeah, we watch the same way. I cut away from entertainment interviews, and I come on back for the brothers actually talking to themselves. Peter, thank you for talking to us. By the way, while we were talking, I know you're a big baseball fan. Aaron Judge hit his 62nd home run in Texas while we were talking.
Good. I'm a good dude. I'm a very anti-Yankees person, but I really appreciate class and the greatness of Aaron Judge. I'm happy for him. And, hey, I'll just ask you one question. Any chance he's leading off for the Giants next spring?
I mean, he better be hitting cleanup, for goodness sakes, if they do sign. The pile
bet
of
him
money.
sixth.
Pile of money. It's who's got the biggest pile of money? Very few Yankees, by the way, walk away from historic pinstripes. I have noticed that in my life. So we'll see.
You're right about that. He is a proud Californian.
He is. Just throwing it.
Never know.
Peter King breaking the news. It could happen.
Say one last thing.
Yeah.
So, last day for one other proud Californian who had some great years with the Oakland A's. It's the last day in baseball for Dennis Eckersley. He is retiring after 50 years in baseball. The last few years he's done the Red Sox games on TV for Nesson in New England. And I was watching a little bit of him today, and he broke down on TV. He was so emotional, but said that the reason that he really wanted to go away is his two twin grandchildren in the Bay Area, and he just wants to be around them every day. And just really, really cool. Here's a guy, MVP, Cy Young winner, threw a no-hitter, had 390 saves in his life, first ballot Hall of Famer. It's kind of cool. So he'll be coming back to the Bay to live out his golden years.
Thank you so much, Peter. Always great to talk with you. And we dabbled in a little TV and baseball today. I love it. Thank you so much.
All the best, guys.
Peter King, you're on 95.7 The Game.
I don't know what Eckersley's thinking. How can you give up Alex Verdugo for a couple of kids?
Really? Seriously, you had a chance. You could have been there, front seat for Verdugo, but no. Grandkids. No, look, it's congratulations, obviously, to Dennis Eckersley, one of the all-time great A's.
It's the right thing to leave for.
Yeah, I mean, 50 years in means you probably have done and seen about enough.
You've seen enough charter flights at 2 a.m.
And look, I'm gonna golf clap Aaron Judge. How can you 62 home runs? This is a significant number. I mean, I didn't think anybody would be getting 10 away from Barry Bonds. Well, I guess he'd have to get to 63, right? But it's pretty damn impressive. It really, really is. And anyone who wants to diminish what Aaron Judge has accomplished just is completely unaware of the history of baseball and how difficult to do what he just did with any era, anything, especially with the league, by the way, not even able to muscle out 40 almost across the board. And this guy's sitting at 62 now. It's amazing.
Yeah, and Kyle Schwarber's the only guy who's within 20. So
there you go.
No, it's however you want to define history. That's one of those pedantic arguments that frankly bores me. It's a lot of home runs. He's had a phenomenal year. What are you quibbling about? You know, is it history? Is it not history? No, it's great fun to watch. And baseball's had a damn little of that this year. Fortunately, the playoffs start this weekend. So.
And by the way, you just mentioned Kyle Schwarber. The Phillies are back in the postseason for the first time in 11 years. Speaking of 11, the Dodgers are looking for win number 111 tonight. And Urias, who is 17-7 with a 2.12, is looking for his 18th win of the year. Since we're talking about pitchers out in California, I feel like I should let you know that the National League reliever of the month went to Giant closer Camilo Duvall. So there you go. He can put that award up on his shelf. He's just the second Giant reliever ever to be named reliever of the month. Jake McGee got it at one point last year, so hopefully it's not a harbinger of his career coming to a close anytime soon. And there's one other thing that happened in baseball over the weekend, Ray, that we didn't talk about at all. See, the Angels signed Shohei Ohtani to a record 1-year, $30 million contract, the largest given ever to an arbitration-eligible player. And it's also the biggest raise in baseball history. Bob Nightingale wrote that no one in baseball history has ever received a $24.5 million increase 1 year to the next. Ohtani earned $5.5 million this season in his second season of a 2-year, $8.5 million deal. The previous record for arbitration was when Jacob deGrom got $9.6 million more from the Mets. Shohei Ohtani, 1 year, $30 million, radically underpaid.
Yes, when you think, baseball aside, that he is the bait for any mega-rich Japanese investor who wants to buy into a baseball team, because the Angels are for sale. And what better bait for Artie Moreno to get top dollar than to say, you can have the commercial rights to this guy.
One of the greatest shows on earth.
Yeah. It's you're right. He is underpaid. You know, the problem is, so is Mike Trout, and the Angels haven't figured out what to do around them. I mean, it's still a bad team. It's still just a bad team.
I'll just give you this. Those two guys aren't the problem.
Yeah, it's two suns around a dead solar system.
By the way, this seems like a crass question. But that's not going to stop us.
Right up my street.
Comcast business text line. Someone from the 628 asks, is Tom Brady hiring a divorce attorney a good or bad thing for the league? It's actually a legitimate question. Because I think there is a chance now that Tom Brady, if there really is going to be a divorce, if he and Giselle are going to go their separate ways, there's only one real direction for Brady to walk in. And it's back to the NFL, either as a broadcaster or for one more go around as a quarterback. If there is a divorce, Ray, I could see him play another year.
He could. Whether or not that's good for the league, I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's good for the Tampa Bay Rays or the Buccaneers.
Yeah, he's going to stay in football. They're either going to get their money out of him on TV or playing. And either way, I don't think the NFL much cares, as long as the money's coming from somewhere. So, yeah, I think he's cast his die with the sport that he played. And frankly, it's not a choice that I think I would relish. But You got to do what you got to do.
We got to do what we got to do, and that's come on back for one more segment. And I need to say one more thing about an incredibly frustrating Giants year, and maybe another point or two about how the Niners dominated Monday Night Football. So don't you go anywhere. Damon and Ratto, a little more sound. Maybe Kyle talking about that defense last night. We got that for you around the corner. Awesome conversation with Peter King. If you missed any of it, you can find it all on the Odyssey app, of course. Meanwhile, Damon and Ratto here on 95.7 The Game, brought to you by News Nation.
Chris Cuomo is back with a new show on a new network. Catch Cuomo weeknights on News Nation at 5 p.m. Pacific. To find News Nation on your television provider, go to newsnationnow.com/join us.
Look, up in the sky, it's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's D-O.
Three, quick throw, what a catch. Samuel stays upright. Terrific catch and run. One-on-one with Ramsey. Can't bring him down. Samuel, highlight reel, touchdown.
We're reacting to Monday Night Football right here on 95.7 The Game.
Dr. Trudy Fleer here with the 5G Home Recovery Podcast. Let's discuss a very real existential threat to internet speed. It's a big one. Ready? T-Mobile Home Internet. It lags. Ugh. Now, what is lag? Lag is a delay in data being transmitted across the internet. For example, you're hitting that hot drop, the parachute cuts out, you've got an unsuspecting bot in your sights, and lag! You were actually eliminated 10 seconds ago. Nobody deserves that. So stop letting T-Mobile Home Internet ruin everything and switch to Xfinity. Learn more at xfinity.com/TMOFax.
Get an amazing value on Xfinity Internet with unlimited data included. Switch for $55 a month for 2 full years with no annual contract required and no equipment fees for 24 months. Go to xfinity.com/TMOFax, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to learn more. Requires paperless billing and autopay. Ends 10/17/22. Restrictions apply. New fast internet and xFi Complete customers only. xFi Gateway required. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
Do you think all premium fuels are the same? Well, your engine doesn't. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus helps keep your engine running like new because it's engineered to defend against 4 main engine threats: gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. So next time, choose Shell's most advanced fuel ever. It's fuel for thought. In engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline.
Do you have neuropathy? Are you experiencing numbness, tingling, and pain that just won't stop? Are you taking dangerous drugs that have serious side effects and never fix the pain? If so, please listen to this message. Neuropathy is a serious, progressive condition that only gets worse if not treated properly. Call SF Bay Wellness at 844-94-NERVE to get back to doing the things you want to do. There is no drug, exercise, or surgery that can heal nerves. Don't wait until your condition gets worse and stops you from living your life fully. SF Bay Wellness has a time-tested, proven track record of helping hundreds of patients to improve and reverse their neuropathy. If you're ready to regain your independence, contact SF Bay Wellness at 844-94-NERVE. Call now for your $99 neuropathy special and receive a personal treatment plan that is tailored to your needs. Call 844-94-NERVE. That's 844-94-NERVE and start to enjoy life again.
O'Reilly! It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get up to a $25 gift card after a mail-in rebate with the purchase of select Superstart batteries. For power, performance, and reliability, choose Superstart batteries. We also have battery solutions for many hybrid and electric vehicles. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Everything, our farm, our stand, our pop-up shop, it really all started when we discovered the benefits of local, raw honey for our family.
And then we decided to turn it into a business.
We were looking for something to help us get up and running.
So we got the Chase Business Complete Banking Account.
It's more than a bank account. It comes with Quick Accept, which lets us take card payments anytime, anywhere in the U.S. using the Chase mobile app. Plus, we get same-day deposits at no extra cost. For us, it's more than honey. It's about sharing a little sweetness with the world.
Get the Chase Business Complete Banking account with the essentials you need to help get your business going. Learn more at chase.com/business-complete-banking. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Quick Accept is not available in U.S. territories. Enrollment required. Usage subject to approval. Same-day deposits available for payments before 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday to Friday. Fees and rates apply for checking and processing. Limitations and restrictions apply. Participants compensated. Merchant services provided by Payment Tech LLC and WePay Inc. Subsidiaries of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, but when we just come out and say it, it feels like it falls a bit flat. So we're going to tap into human emotion. First with some music. Then in a serious tone, I'll say, save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. And even though it was about saving money with Progressive, we'll fade out the music so you know it was poignant. Wow, powerful stuff. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discount not available in all states or situations.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
What's your retirement look like? With Fidelity Income Planning, a dedicated advisor can help you create a flexible income strategy to grow and protect your wealth so you can stop worrying about the future and enjoy whatever comes next. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services member NYSE SIPC.
Here's what happened today on The Game. Presented by the County of Santa Clara. The morning roast from 6 to 9.
There are tests that are coming for this defense, but through the first month, I can't say one negative thing about the defense right now.
Willard and Dibbs from 9 to noon.
I know that when Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy, I know where this goes. Goes into January and maybe February.
Yeah.
That's where it goes.
Steiny and Guru from noon to 3.
But that was the game, Goo, that I think everybody wanted to see. Garoppolo, he is your quarterback. And he quarterbacked a mistake-free game.
And Damon and Ratto from 3 to 6.
The only thing wrong with the 49ers defensively are the quality of opponents played in the first 3 weeks of this season. Otherwise, it is just one big, monster, nasty unit.
The best of the game. Presented by the County of Santa Clara. Book a COVID-19 booster shot now at sccfreevax.org or call 211. Now back to Damon and Ratto, brought to you by BMW Fairfield on 95.7 The Game.
Oh, welcome back to you. Our final segment of the day. We will make it worth your while. First of all, the king of all YouTube chatters himself, Otis Bird III, said Brady at 46. That would be crazy. Hey, Brady at 41, 42, 43, 44, 45 is crazy. So, yeah, 46. I believe we graduate to insanity at that point. But he's taken better care of himself than just about all of us put together. Certainly all of us put together. All of us in this room certainly put together. So who knows what would happen if indeed all love is lost in Casa de Bunchen. So I guess it's something to monitor for football fans. Here's something to monitor for football fans. Ray, guess who we get tomorrow at 4:45 from inside the 49ers locker room?
Hugh McElhaney.
No, Deebo Samuel.
I was close.
Will be joining us at 4:45 tomorrow. We're looking forward to saying hello to him. Thanks so much to Peter King for stopping on by for a great conversation this afternoon. And a lot more football talk is up around the corner with Sean Salisbury and Lorenzo Neal. The Football Hour is live, and it is next at 6 o'clock here on 95.7 The Game. Kyle Shanahan was live and is now on tape here when he was on his conference call talking about how his defense has just been impressive at each and every level.
It wasn't just any one area that we dominated in, but all areas had their opportunities. I mean, there were times that the D-line didn't, which I think was obvious to everyone with the amount of sacks and the pressures. But what I thought was cool is they had a couple times in the game where they picked up a couple of our 5-man rushes, and Stafford had some time. And just to watch our guys in man coverage, especially our 2 corners on the outside and Demo in the slot, I thought there was a few plays in particular that they held up for a while. And then just the play of our safeties. Huff making that play. Gipp made a few big plays also. I know he would love to have that pick. And then our linebackers had their moments too. So just distributing it throughout the team where everyone had to kind of take their opportunity to help out the other side. It was pretty cool to watch.
And again, there is more from this conference call. We'll have to get diving back into it tomorrow, but he mentioned Talanoa Hufanga, and he was so good last night. Here's what Shanahan had to say about his second-year stud safety.
I just think he's so deliberate in everything he does. I mean, his intent in every step he takes on the field, everything he does in training, it's always exactly to his play. I talk about Bosa a lot in that way. But guys that everything they do in their life is always to think of how it relates to the football field. And he's a talented guy, but when you can add that part, that aspect to it, someone who really is living and dying it all the time, it really carries over to their game. And they're not just practicing, they're not just taking reps, they're getting better with each rep. And the more deliberate and intense you can have and focus you can have in anything, to me, is what allows people to be great. And he's one of those guys who I think is kind of a lead in that type of area.
Another 100 yards against the 49ers again for Cooper Kupp. This one is juggled, picked. There goes Hufanga. Hufanga, touchdown, San Francisco. Pick 6.
He was fantastic. That defense was fantastic last night. And through 4 weeks, number 1 in points allowed, tied for first in total defense, second in passing yards allowed, second in rushing yards allowed. And you really, Ray, you can't ask for more than that.
No, you can't. It's a good reminder that this is a team where you look at the defense first, and that's hard for 49er fans to do when they want to fixate desperately on the quarterback. But the fact is, this is a defensive team, almost a purely defensive team. You're going to have to look at them the way that Bears fans look at good Bears teams. Do you stop the other guy before you worry about how your offense is doing? I don't know if they can do that, but that's the reality.
Cooper Kupp has more catches than Justin Fields has completions. That's the reality. So we have a question. You have to answer it quickly.
12.
No, 37.
Oh, I was 25 off.
You were. Evan Longoria turns 37 years old on Friday. He basically says, hey, Giants, you want to cut a deal? I'm open to listen to you. There are several stretches every year where I forget that Evan Longoria is even on the team. He's so often hurt. He's as hurt as often a player in his late 30s is allowed to be hurt, yet still be on a Major League Baseball team. The Giants can walk away with a $5 million buyout or bring him back on a club option for $13 million, and I guess he's willing to negotiate on that one. So would you be interested in any way, shape, or form of another year out of Evan Longoria, or like me, would you rather see David Villar get 450 at-bats, see what he can do?
I'm not a big believer in see what he can do. I think you've got to know that you're getting something better. And if David Villar is better, then let him go. If you're not sure or you think that he's not as good, you have to go for the best guy. And I think that's the judgment that Farhan's got to make. He's got to forget about the money, and he's got to say, who gives me a better chance of winning at that position?
I want to wrap up with this, and this will be worth you staying 1 minute longer for, Ray. Do you remember in the 1992 Olympic 400-meter semifinal, a runner for America named Jim Redman? The runner's name was Derek Redman. He came up with a hamstring. He pulled his hamstring, and he tried to finish the race by walking as he is crying and breaking down because obviously his dreams of winning a medal are dashed in that moment. He pulls his hamstring, and in one of the all-time dad moments, his father, Jim Redman, came onto the track, gave him his shoulder to lean on, and the two of them finished the race together. Do you remember that?
I do.
It's one of the all-time sports dad moments. I had not seen it since becoming a father. I watched it again today, and it made me misty. Start thinking about your own kids.
And how the first time your kid gets jobbed by an official, you'll be on the field screaming like a banshee.
No doubt. Today, the father, Jim Redman, passed away. R.I.P., Mr. Redman. I'll never forget you.
I mean, that was 30 years ago, so yeah.
Yeah. Really, really special moment. I have already tweeted out the video, and I suggest you go and see it. It's a tough to maintain a dry eye, really is. So rest in peace, Mr. Redman. One of the all-timers, one of the great Olympic moments ever. And thanks very much again to Peter King for joining us today. 4:45, Debo Samuel tomorrow here with me and Ray. We're looking forward to that. Lucas, thank you. Grandy, thank you. Ray, thank you. I'm Damon. Goodbye. Sports don't build character. They reveal it.
And like that, he's gone.